Welcome to the Kill Count, where we tally up the victims in all our favorite horror movies. I'm James A. Janice, and today we begin our Chucky extravaganza with the original Chucky movie, Child's Play, released in 1988. Child's Play is an interesting series, one that has ventured from serious horror into self-effacing parody and back to horror again. With 6 films and a 7th coming out in just a few weeks, its success and notoriety is entirely because of the central character, Chucky the Killer Doll. Possessed by the spirit of a serial killer, Chucky has been freaking people out since his first appearance on screen, and there's no other horror icon that I hear people say they're afraid of more. Whether it stems from the unnatural way he moves around or just an innate, deep-seated fear of creepy-looking dolls, it seems like Chucky is the killer people have the most nightmares about. Sorry, Fred. Which sounds like the perfect reason to me to cover Chucky and all his escapades that span the 30 years he's been around. But before we can get to all the crazy sequels that see him get married and have a kid, we've got to start from the beginning and his very first kills. Without further ado, let's get to him. The movie begins with a foot chase. Detective Mike Norris is in pursuit of Charles Lee Ray, a guy with the most serial killer name imaginable. Norris gets a shot in on Ray, scaring his partner Eddie Caputo enough to drive off in the getaway van, leaving Ray behind. Help me! Eddie, don't leave me, Ray ducks into a toy store where the title card pops up over a display of good guy dolls. Ray's not very good at this whole escape thing though, because Norris lands another shot on him. After stumbling around looking like a drunk Tommy Wiseau impersonator, he realizes he's going to die soon, so he makes a theatrical threat to Detective Norris. I'm gonna get you! I'm gonna get Eddie! No matter what! Then he grabs a good guy doll and gets to work with a crazy archaic chant. I only included a clip of the chant because after working on this series so much, I've been saying Ade Due down below in my sleep, and if Chelsea has to suffer through hearing that shit, then so do you. A bunch of ominous thunderclouds roll in overhead, and one lightning strike later, the entire toy store blows up from the inside out, leaving the place looking like Santa's workshop after one of the elves had an accident cooking meth. The only thing left for Norris to find is Ray's
Hey Dust, what's up, bro?
Dead body lying next to a good guy doll. Obviously, Ray has transferred his soul into it, but I'm still gonna throw Charles Lee Ray up on the kill count as the movie's first victim, because, you know, he shuffled off his moral coil or whatever. Now it's time to meet our adorable little hero of the film, Andy
What's poppin'? I'm good. How about you? What's poppin'?
Barkley. He's making a breakfast of sugar with sugar, but he's allowed to because it's his damn birthday, and there's nothing he wants more for it than an animatronic good guy doll, as hawked to him by this terrifying mask.
Good. I'm glad to hear that. I had I went to sleep at 3 a.m. last night. And I got 7 hours of sleep because I slept till I can't remember. I think maybe I got 8 hours, but I think I slept till actually 11. I went to bed at 3 and then I slept till 11 a.m. So I think I got like 9 hours left. I got 9 hours of sleep, I think. I don't know. My math is crappy and it's the worst subject I've ever done. The point is though, I only have to do an hour nap. I've been trying to do that all evening, but unfortunately, I had to get videos uploaded. I had to watch some TV. I had late lunch. Have to do a reaction. I had work to do. I could not get an entire hour, at least 1 hour of a nap this whole entire evening. So I'm going to be sleeping till 9 once this is done.
Good guy.
Trying to anyway.
Just need to see someone cosplay as at the next Monsterpalooza. Don't let me down, people. But when he opens the big box for him from his mom, Karen, it's just a bunch of dumb clothes inside. Quit your whining, kid. A good doll won't warm for a Chicago winter. And besides, the damn things cost $100. Way too much for this working-class single mother. But at work, Karen is presented with a solution when her pink lady friend Maggie tells her about a sweet clearance sale going on in the alleyway. She goes out back and buys one of these giant life-size dolls for only $30 from a very charming street peddler.
How do we know the damn thing isn't stolen, huh?
Steal it.
Make some noise before
this. When she gets back inside, her stuffy boss tells her she has these giant life-size dolls for only $30 from a very charming street peddler.
How do we know the damn thing isn't stolen, huh?
Steal this. When she gets back inside, her stuffy boss tells her she has to work late that night, so Maggie agrees to watch Andy. Karen's able to stop home first and give Andy his street doll, and the two little boys take an immediate liking to each other.
Oh, actually, speaking of Chucky, when I was up in Wisconsin during, I think, what was it, August? I can't remember when I was up in Wisconsin last time. I actually watched all of the Chucky movies. I watched Child's Play 1, 2, 3, 4, No, wait. I've watched Child's Play 1, 2, 3, Bride of Chucky, Seed of Chucky, Curse of Chucky, and I'm watching Cult of Chucky down here in Texas. So I'm watching that last movie, and I guess you could say 8 when you include the 2019 remake.
Hi, I'm Andy. Hi, I'm Chucky, and I'm your friend to the end. Heidi ho.
Things couldn't be better for
Cool. I got 50. I don't know if you heard about the Netflix situation where they're raising money or something from the last price they're doing for Netflix. So I'm trying, before me and my parents stop doing Netflix, I'm trying to finish up the Chucky movie. Yeah, I'm trying to finish up the Cult of Chucky movie before me and my parents are done watching Netflix because of what they're doing to it. Yeah.
Andy, who gets to teach his new friend all sorts of things.
So yeah, I'm trying to finish up Cult of Chucky before I'm finished watching Netflix.
See, that's how you build things.
And they're pretty swell for Chucky, too. Look, free TV. And the anchor is talking about Charles B. Ray. That's his favorite program. Andy tells Maggie that Chucky wants to watch the news, but she says it's late and tries to put the boys to bed. She's surprised a little later when she finds the TV turned back on and Chucky's sitting in a chair watching the anchor talking about the...
Let's see. You could actually try to play a horror game. How about, since it's October, you could try to do a horror game. Let me see what else I could do. Let's see. How about either Walking Dead, Friday 13th, Resident Evil, Eyes the horror game, Opus Castle, Little Nightmares, Five Nights at Freddy's, Bending the Ink Machine, Mortal Kombat, any of those?
whereabouts of his accomplice, Eddie
It is the spooky month, so I think a good horror game would be pretty good.
Caputa. She thinks it's just Andy, new doll goofing though, so she puts him to bed, wrapped up real tight next to Chucky, showing us just how big Chucky's damn head is. Look at that thing. Later that night, while Maggie's trying to read, Chucky runs down the hall behind her, but she just thinks it's Andy. When she goes to look for him, she finds a bunch of flowers spilled on the floor, and as she's cleaning it up, she gets a hammer to the face, causing her to stumble back and fall out the window of their awesome-looking apartment building in a really
Okay, sounds good.
long, drawn-out slow-motion shot until she
When you upload it, I'll watch it. I just gotta look for your channel, though.
finally lands on a truck for our second kill of the movie, 23 minutes in. Karen gets home and runs down the hall like a Disney princess to find Andy hanging out with Detective Norris. He tells her about Maggie's death and
It's Dust Sands? Okay. Sounds good. When I wake up from my nap, I'll look for it. I'll check out your new video, and then I gotta do a couple of other things before I have to go to bed again.
points out the cute little footprints in the flower by the window. He checks out Andy's pajama soles, and hey look, it's the same design. Ain't that something? Karen's not happy about the insinuation and tells Norris to go on and get, but before he does, Andy has an adorable little light bulb go off and sees that Chucky has flour on the bottom of his shoes. He gets so excited to tell the grown-ups that he can't even make it all the way through his line.
Mommy, I know who was on the kitchen counter.
Mike humors him by asking who did it.
Chucky.
And as adorable as that answer is, Mike and Karen don't believe him because, you know, they're not insane people. Andy might be, though, because Karen finds him sitting on the floor and talking to Chucky. Apparently, Chucky's been sharing secrets with Andy.
His real name is Charles Lee Ray.
Oh, the name almost loses its assassin-like qualities when that cute kid says it. No way to make this next line sound innocent, though.
He said that Maggie was a real bitch and got what she deserved.
I know that's a bad word, but I can't edit. I'm not an editor. I don't have an editor, and I can't censor things because it censors the wrong things. When I first tried to censor something, it censored the wrong thing when I played a mod. That was bad. Hey, Golden Ember, what's up, dude?
Oh, whoa.
What's poppin'?
Oh, kid, Aunt Maggie was her mom's best friend. Maybe cool with the salt there. The next day, Andy takes Chucky to school, and it looks like a bunch of other kids are bringing their good guys to class, too. I hope the school has extra seats for all these giant-ass dolls, man. Turns out they won't need one for Chucky, though, because Andy shows how ex-core he is by ditching school and riding a train all by himself. He's directed by Chucky to a much more
You're okay? Good, I'm glad to hear that.
unsavory part of town. The part of town where old furniture sits outside just waiting for a doll to make use of it. Andy picks up the lay of the land real quick when he goes to take a piss behind the heap of garbage on the street. While he's occupied, Chucky disappears and runs to the house that he knows Eddie Caputo is hiding out in. While Eddie is fast asleep in the rat sanctuary he calls home, Chucky opens up the oven and blows out the pilot light, then cranks the gas up. Eddie wakes up and is suspicious of the noises he hears, so he takes his itchy trigger finger and slinks around the house before popping into the kitchen and firing his gun, starting a huge explosion that engulfs the entire house and incinerates Eddie Caputo for the third kill of the movie. At least no one has to pay for a funeral since he's getting buried in that collapsing building. And also because he's probably an estranged felon with no family to speak of. Karen gets called down to the station by Detective Norris because they've picked up Andy and are questioning him in what looks like a sketch parody of an interrogation scene. What would that sketch be called? Good guy, bad cop? Andy tries to get Chucky to talk in front of the adults, but Chucky won't budge, causing Andy to get real upset. In fact, he gets so worked up that, again, he can't make it through a whole line of dialogue.
He told me never to tell about him or he'd kill me.
Oh my god, Alex Vincent is the cutest kid I've ever seen. This Harry Carey looking doctor says he wants to watch over Andy for a few days, so Karen returns
Okay, sounds good, bro.
home with just Chucky. She
Take your time. Take your time.
implores him to talk, but he just sticks to the old script.
Hi, I like to be hugged.
She tries to laugh off her unease, but when she's looking at the good guy box, the batteries fall out. Oh snap, Karen, them bats ain't in dead doll at all. When she goes to double check that they're absent, Chucky goes full exorcist on her.
Hi, I'm Chucky. Wanna play?
But it's not until she lights a fire and threatens to toss him inside that Chucky finally reveals himself to her in the audience.
You stupid bitch! You fucking slut! Did you fuck with me?
But bites her arm before she manages to fend off his attack. Then he runs away and takes the elevator down to escape her. So now Chuck is on the loose. Karen tracks down Norris to tell him that Andy's not lying, but not even the bite mark will convince Detective Norris that she's not a crazy lady. Not to be deterred, she takes off on her own and heads back down to Peddler Pete's Doll Emporium to
Yep. And hold on. I gotta do something. I'll be right back. You're gonna be surprised by this. Hold on. Let me put on some no copyright. If I can try to find no copyright Chucky music. Hold on. Hey Goku-san, what's up, bro? What's poppin'? I'm about to surprise people with something. If I can try to find the right music. Hold on. So let's look for some no copyright Chucky music first. Chucky music. Because I don't want to get copyright claims, so I want to try to look for no copyright. Let's see. Original, inspired. No. That's not what we want. We want no copyright. Let's see, will this work? Hold on. I want to find the right type of music so I don't get copyright claimed. I want to try to find some Halloween music because I want to surprise y'all. And then we have to finish the reaction too. It looks like I can't find. All right. Well, you know what? If I get a copyright claim, I'll just go ahead and trim it. So I think I'm gonna look for this. Hold on a sec. Curse. This is gonna be a good surprise because you know what? It's Halloween, so I feel like surprising y'all. All right, let's go ahead and like this because I gotta finish this. All right, loop this. This is gonna be a good surprise. You're gonna love this.
comparten el mismo.
I'm trying to surprise y'all, chat, but I'm too fucking fat for my costume. Well, I tried. Damn it, man. Fuck. Well, damn it. I'll have to try next year. Forget it. I'm so mad right now. Damn, everything was perfect. The lights flickering was perfect. The damn music was perfect. Well, forget it. Forget it, chat. My fucking prank was ruined. Damn it.
Emporium to question him on where Chucky came from, but all
I'm
he's
so
interested
fucking
in
mad.
is committing sexual assault. Luckily, Nora shows up to brandish his gun around like he's Dirty Harry or something and save Karen from the peddler. Some rough handling gets the peddler to talk, and he says he found the doll in a burned-down toy store. Oh shit, Norris, you know that place.
Charles Lee Ray died there.
Yeah, that's the one. After Norris drops Karen off at home, Chucky surprises him from the backseat of the car by choking him with some jumper cables. Norris drives through the streets like it's Crazy Taxi until he's able to grab his cigarette lighter and stab Chucky in the face with it. Chucky don't give up that easily though, so he starts stabbing at Norris with a butcher knife, even almost getting him in the baby maker. Then presses the pedal to the metal until Norris flips the car over and crashes.
I wanted to surprise y'all so friggin' badly. But because I'm not freaking skinny, it was ruined. Everything was perfect. Everything was so perfect. So just forget it, chat. I'll try again next Halloween stream. I'll just try it again. Man, everything was perfect. Damn. That upsets me. I'm so mad right now.
Chucky misses a stab and runs away, taunting that Norris can't hurt him, but when Mike finally does land a shot, it actually does throw Chucky back and hurt him. So Chucky goes to see John, his plainly named voodoo man who taught him all those creepy chants from the beginning. And this is the scene where we get full-on moving Chucky action. Most of it still looks great, although the talking doesn't always match up with the mouth. John tells Chucky that the doll is becoming his body, but when Chucky demands that John help him get out of this mess, John refuses.
You're an abomination. An outrage against nature.
Damn, that guy went from zero to abomination speech real fast. Chucky don't take too kindly to being called an abomination, so he takes a voodoo doll of John and starts seriously messing with him. First breaking his leg and then breaking his arm, and threatening to do more until he finally gets some information out of him. John tells him he's got to put his soul into the first human being he told that he was alive, which just so happens to be Andy.
I have a date with a 6-year-old boy.
Chucky, phrasing. He thanks John for the help by stabbing his voodoo doll in the heart. John stays alive long enough for Norris and Karen to show up, and he warns them about Chucky's plan to date her little boy. Also, he says the only way to destroy Chucky is to kill the heart.
To the heart.
Oh, sorry, kill the heart, whatever that is. You sure you don't mean heart?
To the heart.
Alright, kill the heart, got it. His wisdom fully dispensed, John puts his head back and dies, our fourth kill of the movie. Chucky manages to infiltrate the mental hospital and sneak into Andy's room, then walk super creepily across the floor and climb onto the bed. God damn, that looks crazy. Also crazy is this one shot of Chucky when Andy runs away. That is clearly a guy in a suit. Chucky attacks Andy.
I'm very upset. I'm still upset that what I wanted to show you guys was ruined because of my stupid weight. I'm very mad. Everything was perfect, and then it just got ruined by my stupid freaking stomach. I'm sorry, chat. I had the most perfect thing I had the most perfect thing ever, and then it got ruined. Man, I can't believe it got ruined. I'm so upset. Why has this gotta happen to me when I just wanted to stream and surprise my chat just for fun? Why did this have to happen to me?
In an operating room, and Andy grabs a scalpel to defend himself with, but he's such a cute little clumsy kid, he can't help but keep falling backwards all over himself. God damn it, this is the cutest kid in the world. I'm gonna keep saying it, yo. Dr. Harry Carey just thinks he's crazy, though, and
I might as well spoil it since my stupid fatness freaking ruined it. So what I was gonna do was, I was planning to have the lights flicker, the music play, and then I was going to come out in front of y'all, in front of the camera as Chucky. I can try it again, but I have to lose weight first. Because it got ruined immediately. I could not get the stupid zipper all the way up, so I wasn't able to get my face covered. I mean, if I can't damn fit, I might as well spoil it because it's fucking ruined. So what does it matter? I wanted to surprise y'all, but because of my goddamn weight, it got ruined. Oh, it really irritates me. Y'all really should see my face right now. I'm just so upset, disappointed, and not happy right now. I just wanted to do it for fun, and I got busted real quick. No, I didn't get in trouble. I just couldn't fit it. Everything was perfect, too. Curse my goddamn weight.
He tries to sedate him with drugs, so before he can get all those delicious
I think I'll try again, just not now. I'm too upset to try again right now.
drugs into Andy's system, Chucky stabs him in the back of the leg, giving us a good blood spurt and knocking Dr. Harry Carey down. Chucky then sticks this electrical belt thing on his head and starts shocking him to death. As Andy falls over again, Chucky keeps the bolts coming. It might be, it could be, it is our fifth kill of the movie. Holy cow! Andy makes his way back home by himself somehow, barring the front door and hiding in the closet. While he's pulling a real Laurie Strode, Chucky drops down through the chimney and kicks down the guard like a pissed-off mini murder Santa. He stalks his way down the hallway to give Andy a fun little surprise. And then he chases him a whole bunch, eventually knocking him out with a toy bat and a pun. His incantation vacation is over, and he gets to work on that creepy chant from the beginning.
Ade Dewey Dembella.
Give me the power I beg.
It's even creepier now, since it's being done by a freaking Cabbage Patch Kid. Ominous clouds roll in to confirm that the chant is going well. Doris and Karen arrive and are able to break through Andy's weak-ass barrier, but when Karen stops Chucky, he bites her in the shoulder and slices Norris in the back of the leg. Doris goes looking for him, only to have Chucky knock the wind out of him with that bat, but then Karen comes in and shoots Chucky down for the win. He's able to bounce back and jump on her, attacking her once more before she tosses him in the fireplace and cages him there like a rabid raccoon. Andy comes over to finish the job, and Chucky tries to plead with him.
We're friends to the end. Remember?
This is the end, friend.
Andy lights him up and gives us this disturbing image of a nearly human-sized doll running around on fire and climbing on furniture, looking like a toddler flaming torch. You'd think that would be the end of it, but no. After the Barclays go tend to Detective Norris, Chucky friggin' disappears. He comes back to trip Andy like a grade school bully and comes after him, even though at this point he's been reduced to a smoking, overcooked barbecue. We get some classic horror imagery, like the stabs through the door and POV chasing, until Karen shoots Chucky a bunch of times, decapitating him and taking off several limbs with her shots. That's some dope aim, Karen. She finally shoots him in the chest, and we think it's finally all over for good, because, like, come on. Norris's cop partner shows up, and even though Norris tells him it was the doll, he's skeptical of the story. Lucky for Norris's credibility, it's actually not all over for good, as Chucky's burnt body pops out through the air vent and starts strangling the cop even more than that mustache is strangling his upper lip. Jesus, dude, just die already. Norris must have been thinking the same thing, because he shoots him through the heart. Blood splatters everywhere, and Chucky is finally dead, so he'll go on the list, even though I already counted Charles Lee Ray. Whatever, I do what I want. Chucky signs off with one last utterance of his catchphrase.
I'm Chucky. Wanna play?
And that'll give you nightmares. The detectives, Karen and Andy, all leave the room, a freeze frame capturing Andy's forlorn look as the final frame of the film. Man, I hate it when movies end on a freeze frame for no good reason. Come on, let's get to the kills. If you count both Charles Lee Ray and Chucky as separate deaths, then 6 people die in this movie. Pretty low for a slasher, but that's okay. Chucky's just getting started. Of the victims, 5 were men and only 1 was a woman, so there's a pretty stark gender imbalance going on. With a runtime of 87 minutes, we wound up with a kill on average every 14.5 minutes, and they were actually spaced apart pretty evenly. I'll give the golden chainsaw for coolest kill to Dr. Ardmore. All the kills were unique, but this one was the most gruesome, especially the shot with all that blood coming out of his eyes. Dull machete for lamest kill will go to Charles Lee Ray, who bled out to death after getting shot a couple of times. It's bullshit. He did not die well. He did not. Oh, hi, Chucky. And that's it. Child's Play was released in 1988 and caused a bit of an uproar, with the concerned parents of the conservative 80s outraged by the concept of a killer doll. Chucky persevered, though, and we got a whole heap of sequels, the first of which I'll be covering next week. Until then, I'm James A. Janice. This has been the Kill Count. Hey guys, thanks a lot for watching my Kill Count for Child's Play. I want to thank some of my patrons like Amber Wazoric, Charles Mueller, Jeff Eardink, and Tay Rose too. To join the Patreon family and help out this channel, just click that button over there. Are you guys excited for another big franchise here on the Kill Count? We're going to be hanging out with Chucky all the way until October. And the Kill Count for Cult of Chucky will come out 3 days after it's released. That's how dope I am. Thanks a lot for watching, guys. KillCount, where we tally up the victims in all our favorite horror movies. I'm James A. Janice, and today we're continuing the Chucky franchise with Child's Play 2, released in 1990. After the original film was such a box office success, it was clear that a sequel was going to get made. Universal Pictures bought the rights to the Chucky property, and writer Don Mancini returned to pen the follow-up to his Chucky doll creation. Mancini and David Kirshner would go on to write and produce, respectively, every movie in the franchise, which is rare for a long-running horror series, especially one with as many tonal changes as the Chucky movies. But the first sequel is very much in line with the original. It's mostly a straight horror film, with Chucky making a few quips here and there, and much of the film focused on the returning protagonist, Andy Barclay. The good thing is, we don't have to spend half the movie setting up Chucky as a killer doll, so he can jump right in and start killing right away. Speaking of which, let's get to him. The movie begins with a reassembly. They're putting Chucky back together, and for some reason, they're keeping the same underlying skeleton and just putting all new parts on over it. It's like that one philosophical question. If you take Abe Lincoln's hatchet and replace its head and later replace its handle, is it still Abe Lincoln's hatchet? Is this still our same psychopathic murder doll? Where you have philosophers? Anyway, this generic-looking CEO arrives and talks to his generic-looking toady about where we are in the series. Andy's mother is in the psychiatric ward, and Andy's in foster care. And the reason they're recreating Chucky is to prove to stockholders that there's no problem with the doll and that they can go back to making money. While the technician is putting in the final touches, though, some kind of supernatural force electrocutes him and sends him through a window, giving us our first kill of the movie just 6 minutes into the film. I bet CEO guys just had a paycheck to hand out that week. But he's still upset about how this looks and tells his toady Madsen to make it all go away, even micromanaging to tell Madsen exactly how to get rid of the doll. Stick it up your ass. Time to catch back up with Andy, played again by Alex Vincent, who's 2 years older, but still a pretty cute kid. He's in foster care and is being window shopped by Joanne and Phil Simpson. Even though Phil is skeptical because of the whole, killer doll thing, they end up taking him home to this atrociously painted bubblegum house of horrors. Dear Lord, that looks like the single most uncomfortable place for an 8-year-old to be. Especially because Phil's such a stickler for rules. Andy meets his new foster sister Kyle, who dresses like she hangs out with Judy Funny. I'm actually really into the foster sibling relationship in this movie because you don't usually see that in media. Andy's other new foster sibling is a good guy doll who drops onto his head from the top of his closet. Andy flees in terror, but Phil just uses the opportunity to lay down more rules.
Andy, rule number 2, don't run him in the house.
Yeah, hey Phil, maybe rule number 1 for you should be don't have good guy dolls booby-trapped in the closet to trigger your new foster child. Back at good guy headquarters, Madsen leaves work in the middle of a thunderstorm and throws Chucky in with the rest of the toys in his back seat. Might not want to get pulled over with all those little kid toys in your car, dude. Looks pretty weird. While he's stopping by a liquor store, Chucky grabs his car phone and calls the foster agency to find out where Andy is.
This is his uncle, Charles.
Foster place worker Grace Poole tells Chucky this information, and that seems real messed up, man, that anyone could call up a foster agency and get info on a little kid by using a shitty alias. After Madsen hits the road again, Chucky pulls a gun on him, and he reacts pretty nonchalantly.
Okay, what do you want?
Dude, there's a possessed doll holding a gun to your head, and you sound like you're answering a phone call from a friend you just hung up with. Chucky has him park in an empty lot before taking a plastic bag and wrapping it around his head, strangling Madsen to death for our second kill 20 minutes in. That's twice in 2 movies that Chucky has attacked someone from the backseat of a car. Maybe they should have made that his thing throughout the series. But no, they went with shitty puns instead. Chucky first person runs his way to Andy's new home, where he bumps into his replacement.
Shut up, you idiot.
When the OX get a new man who looked just like you, Chucky busts open Tommy's face with that porcelain thing Andy was messing around with earlier, then buries his fellow good guy in the backyard, giving us a good look at the improved animatronics in this movie. And also how they use the top-down forced perspective to have a real person play Chucky, because that is definitely a person in a costume. The next morning, Phil's super pissed about his broken statue and grounds both the kids, giving them some together time, during which Andy shows how ex-core he is by taking a drag off Kyle's cigarette. Kyle commiserates with Andy how shitty it is to be a foster kid, a point that's driven home later when Andy overhears Phil talking shit about him in the kitchen. I love that somehow Phil doesn't notice Andy standing right freaking there with the door open. Just imagine yourself in Phil's position. It's very obvious that there's a kid standing behind that door. That night, Chucky gets straight to work, tying up Andy in bed and attempting to get some quality playtime in.
I got a new game, Sport. It's called Hide the Soul.
Oh, that sounds fun. How do you play? Damn it, Chucky, that's the same game we played before. You just stuck a new name on it. Kyle comes home late and interrupts what certainly has to look like a strange situation to him. I bet you think Andy into some kinky shit. The ruckus wakes Phil and Joanne, and since Phil don't like to be aroused like that, he angrily tosses Chucky down into the basement. This gives Chucky a nosebleed, meaning he'd better get to work on that little boy's body soon. Sorry, phrasing. The next day, Andy heads off to school, and Chucky hitches a ride underneath the bus. During recess, while Andy's busy with a rousing game of ball and fence, Chucky finds his homework assignment, vandalizing it so that later, when the teacher Miss Kettlewell is going through them, she gets a nice little personal message. She puts Andy in detention, and when she thinks he wants to play with Chucky, she throws Chucky in the closet and locks him. She also locks Andy in the room, which is like a serious fucking fire hazard lady. So when Chucky scares Andy through the closet peephole, Andy's unable to get out the door and is forced to climb out the window instead. The inhabitant! Kettlewell returns and thinks that the noise is coming from the closet is Andy, so she goes to give him a good scolding, probably with a yardstick, judging by her lock-em-up methods of punishment. Chucky jumps out and stabs her with an air pump, injecting her with air, which I thought would, like, kill her, but it doesn't. Instead, Chucky gets to dish out some corporal punishment of his own.
You've been very naughty, Miss Kettlewell.
He beats her to death with a yardstick for the third kill of the film in a pretty artistic way for a slasher sequel. Each strike of the yardstick pulling the camera out more and more. And you can still see the yardstick going up and down even in this furthest away shot. That's awesome. Phil gets more and more pissed about Andy's behavior, yelling to Joanne that he's not their child. So Kyle comforts Andy and tells him it'll make him stronger and it'll be okay. Andy tells her that's great and all, but he's got bigger problems going on.
It doesn't matter. Where I go.
That kind of thinking causes Andy to take matters into his own hands, grabbing an electric carver and going into the basement to take care of Chucky once and for all. I've loved watching this little kid stumble around with a sharp object. It both terrifies me and makes me go, aw. It also makes me laugh when he takes the thing to a bunch of clean linens. Chucky ends up getting the drop on him though, knocking him down and fighting with him until Andy's able to reach the carver and hit him with it in that big old head of his. Chucky runs away before Phil comes downstairs, real cautious about what he sees as an unstable little boy holding an electric knife. Chucky trips Phil on the stairs, causing him to fall through the cheap wooden banister, then gives us a one-liner and a nice understated delivery.
How's it hanging, Phil?
He drops Phil onto the floor, causing him to break his neck and die. No big deal. While they're waiting for the ambulance to arrive, at least the rest of the family can play a mean game of chess on his body. Phil's death causes Joanne to finally turn on Andy, so she packs his bag and sends him back to the foster home with Grace Poole, who you could argue is kind of responsible for all this shit in the first place. After tossing Chucky into the trash, Kyle goes for a midnight swing and smoke and kicks up enough dirt to uncover the broken body of the Tommy doll. Now that she knows Andy wasn't full of shit, she heads inside armed and cautious, only to hear some ominous sound design going on in Joanne's room.
Joanne?
She turns Joanne's body around to find her dead, her mouth gagged and her throat slit. Sure, it's an off-screen death, but I think the creepy sewing machine noises and the psycho-style body reveal make up for that. Chucky then attacks Kyle and rides around on her back for a little bit before she's able to hit him with a broken lamp and knock him away. He grabs her knife and trips her like a middle school bully, then takes her hostage so she can drive him to the foster agency so he can take over Andy's body. Her speeding gets her pulled over by a cop who's initially delighted by the sight of a good guy doll.
What's your name, buddy? Chucky.
Before he sees some blood coming out of Chucky's nose. That weirds him out enough to let them go, I guess. Kyle's able to drive off again and eventually buckle herself up and slam on the brakes to throw Chucky through the windshield. She tries to crush him with her car, but he gets out of the way and takes her captive once more.
Playtime's over.
See, Chucky's cracking a few jokes in this one, but he's still mostly serious. Later in the series, these little quips are going to become his entire personality, so just be ready for that. Chucky and Kyle wind up at the foster agency, where Grace takes them and Andy into her office. Before she can yell at the kids for pulling the fire alarm, though, Chucky whips out a knife and stabs her in the chest a bunch of times, knocking her onto the photocopier, where her death face gets captured and printed. Yo, I heard you like Dead Grace Face, so we put Dead Grace Face on your Dead Grace Face. As fire trucks respond to the alarm that Chucky pulled, he takes advantage of the chaos to get Andy in the back of the truck, which, like, why is this newspaper truck driving through the streets with its freaking back door open? Them papers would be all over those streets, man. Chucky tries to play hide the soul in the back of the truck, but Kyle gets the driver to pull over. Chucky and Andy take off, and Kyle escapes the super pissed off driver to chase them into the good guy factory, doing a neat little action hero roll underneath the closing gate. The final act takes place in the factory, and I think it's a great freaking setting for the film's climax, even if it is kind of lame when Chucky knocks Andy out with a tiny little plastic judo chop. Chucky's still got that incantation infatuation and gets to work saying them creepy words and bringing in the storm clouds. He actually completes the ritual, but apparently it's too late. He's been in the good guy body for too long, and now it looks as though he's stuck in it. Kyle knocks a bunch of boxes onto Chucky, and Andy runs away, meeting back up with Kyle, where they both confirm each other's names.
Andy. Kyle.
With that settled, they run through a maze of good guy boxes that I'm sure some poor production assistant had to make and stack before making their way out and climbing up one of those roller slide things that were always at DZ Discovery Zone. Andy friggin' sucks at it though. No big dude, those things were always difficult to climb. And Chucky pops up to knife his way up the slide in an attempt to catch Andy and kill him. Kyle traps his hand under a gate and Chucky goes full Aaron Ralston to get out, pulling his hand off in a shot with some nice doll gore. Then he gives himself a sort of Ash Williams upgrade, outfitting the knife blade as his new hand. With the assembly line all sorts of fucked up, a technician finally takes notice. Hey yeah, dude, where were you when a couple of kids broke in and got chased by an evil doll? When he comes to fix the machine, he sets himself up for a very memorable kill. Chucky slashes him with his knife, knocking him down onto the assembly line, where a pair of good guy eyes are implanted into his skull. It's unique, bloody, and comical, all at once, and is literally the only thing I remembered from this movie until I rewatched it for the kill count. When Chucky goes to attack the foster siblings, Kyle knocks him back and stitches him to a platform that takes him up into a little assembly box thing, where a bunch of limbs are inserted, and Chucky screams his lungs out until eventually it spits out a melted heap of Chucky.
I tried to do the damn prank again, but I give up. Hey, Greeny Sonic, what's up, bro? I'm so exhausted. I tried to pull an innocent scare prank twice, but because of my goddamn weight, I'm done. I'm done trying.
Parts and gore. But as the kids walk away, they don't notice the trail of blood showing that Chucky escaped that little box, so he's able to catch them unawares and knock Kyle down with the technician's ghastly-looking body, and wheel his way over to Andy for some good guy fun time stab around. His knife arm gets caught in a grate though, so Andy turns a wrench and causes a lethal amount of molten plastic to spray out, engulfing Chucky and melting him to the floor, while a nasty-looking hose wiggles about, looking like it's straight out of the dog kennel scene in The Thing. After Andy saves Kyle and they go and check on the Chucky heap though, he comes back to life to attack them some more because that's what he does. Kyle sticks that air hose in his mouth to inflate him like the bad guy in Live and Let Die. His head gets super huge before finally blowing up in spectacular fashion, and with his being reduced to a decapitated bloody plastic mound, Chucky is finally dead in this movie, our 8th and final victim. The movie ends with Kyle and Andy walking off together to no place in particular as the credits start to roll. Sequels usually end up increasing the body count over the original. Did Chucky play by the rules? Let's find out and get to the numbers. Counting Chucky, 8 people die in Child's Play 2, which is 2 more than in the original. Of those 8, 5 of the victims were male and 3 were female, a more even gender distribution than we had last time. At a runtime of 83 minutes, that comes out to a kill on average every 10.38 minutes, a bit quicker than in Child's Play 1. I'll give the golden chainsaw for coolest kill to the good guy factory technician. The image of that dude with his eyes replaced literally stuck with me my entire life, and it probably always will. I love it. Dull machete for lamest kill will have to go to Phil Simpson. Should have made it a house rule, Phil, no falling off the stairs and breaking your neck. And that's it. Child's Play 2 was released 2 years after the original, and Universal was so eager for sequels that the 3rd movie came out just 9 months after this one. I'm actually going to pause this franchise for a second, though, to do the mini-series for Stephen King's It, in honor of the new movie coming out. That's next week, and until then, I'm James A. Janice. This has been the Kill Count. Hey guys, thanks a lot for watching the Child's Play 2 Kill Count. I want to thank A7 Afterlife for providing that chessboard joke. I really liked it, man. I also want to thank patrons Justin Smith, Justin Moon, Nick, and Danielle Thompson. If you want to be cool like them and join the Patreon family, just click that button over there and you can help support this channel for as little as $1 a month. I am doing Stephen King's It next week. After that, we'll be back to Child's Play until Cult of Chucky comes out. Temporary part. Welcome to the Kill Count, where we tally up the victims in all our favorite
New videos coming out? Okay.
horror movies. I'm James A. Janice, and today
I'm still annoyed and mad that my stupid prank was ruined because of my stupid weight.
return to our favorite killer doll with Child's Play 3, released in 1991, a mere 9 months after Child's Play 2. While the second film took place contemporaneously in 1990, Child's Play 3 jumps forward 8 years into the future to 1998, with Andy now a teenager at a military academy trying to get over his traumatic past. The film is directed by Jack Bender, who would go on to direct some of the most iconic episodes in 2 of my favorite shows, Lost and Game of...
I know, but I really wanted to pull it off. You can tell in my voice that I'm very upset. I'm very mad about it.
Thrones, but even his...
And a little sad that it got ruined. I need a bigger costume is what I need.
Direction isn't enough to make this movie all that interesting to me. Child's Play 3 is mostly a retread of what we've already seen in the first 2, with Chucky sliding even further into self-parody with increasingly comical one-liners. Add in a bunch of very stereotypical characters like the nerdy friend, the badass chick love interest, and the abusive drill sergeant, and there's just not a lot of interesting stuff going on here. But whether it's a good Chucky movie or a bad Chucky movie, you know Chucky's gonna be doing one thing for sure, and that's killing people. So let's get to the kills. The movie begins in the good guy factory, and I guess in 8 years, nobody bothered to clean up the mess from the climax of the second film. They're finally getting around to it now, though, sweeping up doll parts and using a crane to take care of that Chucky mount. Because hell if those underpaid janitors are going to touch that thing with their bare hands. Too bad the crane punctures the body and causes Chucky's blood to run out, so...
The new video on your channel is out? Okay.
When it's moved over a vat of plastic, a bunch of it seeps in and starts to bubble toilet trouble. The swirling blood takes us into the title card, and the opening credits play against some cool drippy effects on a black background. We cut to a dim, smoky boardroom where good guy executives, that's, executives at the good guy company, not executives who will lend you a 10 spot or help you move or anything, briefly go over the events of the first two films for the same generic looking CEO for part 2.
I don't remember having to do a promise, but okay. I'll check it out later.
Mr. Sullivan. He wants the good guy dolls to go back on the market now that the hubbub surrounding Andy Barclay and his murder doll accusations have finally settled down.
Andy Barclay is ancient history. No one remembers him. Nobody cares.
Sullivan's replacement, Toady, gives him with the first new good guy doll off the assembly line, and I bet you can guess what kind of factory defect it has. Oh, and in case you were thinking, like I was, that a blood-infected vat of plastic would produce multiple murderous reincarnations of Chucky, apparently Mancini wanted to do the same thing, but couldn't because of budgetary restrictions. And so, bound by the metric of ROI, we instead just get a singular incarnation of Chucky who escapes from his box when Sullivan isn't looking. Sullivan goes to watch TV, and it seems like the anchor was just waiting for him to turn it on so he could talk.
Well, despite a downdraft in the bond market,
Dude's all like, finally, I can speak! But then Chucky turns him off and starts messing with Sullivan, tripping him with marbles and sending a whole bunch of remote control.
Alright, so you know what? I got one last try. It doesn't have to be a scare prank, but I got one last shot for like a costume display. I think before we continue the kill count, hold on. I got one last try to show off something cool. I got one last try. But first, I need to set up the music. We want no copyright. No copyright. Man, I can't believe my thing was ruined. I'm gonna try it. I don't think it'll work though. Let's see. Wait, is this copyright free? Let's see. Is this copyright free? Yeah, it is. Alright, well, I'm gonna have to loop this then. If this is copyright free, I gotta loop it. Unless... Let's see, edit. Okay, I'm gonna have to loop this. Let's like it, and then I gotta loop it. Alright, this is my last try. If this doesn't damn work and it doesn't fit me, I'm done trying. This is my last shot. I've already showed this in the past, but I'm going to do it again. My last try. Lord, this is my last try. Please help me get this working. This is my last try. No. I tried Chucky. That frickin' failed. We ain't doing Chucky because I tried and it frickin' failed. This is my last try. If this don't work, I don't know what to damn do. Alright, fingers crossed this still works. Alright, I gotta turn this off so I can do this. I like that, fantastic. This still works. All right, here we go, chat. Oh Hold on. Let the suspense build. I'll probably have to move the camera, but let's try this. Hold on. Hello, bub. Hello, bub. Hold on. Let me get my claw. This is all I can do, bub. This is all I can do. Behold. All right, let me see if I can do it. How's this? Hold on, I'm having trouble with my mask. Getting cooked. I'm getting cooked. Hold on a second. Oh, you know what? Hold on. Hold on a sec. I gotta sit down for a minute. Hold on. I need to look for something. Hold on. Alright, so we want... let's see. Immediately start sitting down. X-Men theme, animated theme. How is it that this still fits but not frickin' Chucky? What the hell, man? That's not damn fair. This still fits but Chucky can't frickin' fit no more? That's stupid.
I don't think people...
Well, it looks like I'm getting copyrighted because I can't find a no copyright version. Of course. Damn. There we go. Now let's put the claws back on. Ta-da! Check this out. Much better. Look at that. That's much better. Ugh. I'm outgrowing my stupid costumes. They don't fit anymore. Ta-da! Mask on. Mask off. There. Claws and everything. It's too bad I'm still so damn fat. I mean, at least something went right. Finally, something went my way. Yep, finally. Finally, something went right for me. About damn time. I was so disappointed. Alright, let's go back to the kill count. Alright, back to the kill count. Oh, so happy something went right for me. About damn time.
Mo controls toys at him. Then he sets up a pair of good guy dolls to talk to each other.
Hi, my name is Larry. Hi, my name is Polly.
He finally shows himself openly by knocking Sullivan down and delivering a one-liner right off the bat.
Stop
fuck with the Chuck.
He takes a dart and throws it into Sullivan's back, and somehow that manages to take this grown-ass man down. Maybe it hit the right spot to paralyze him or something. And then Chucky takes a yo-yo and wraps it around Sullivan's neck, strangling him to death for our first kill of the movie 13 minutes in. Fun fact, this is the longest it takes to get to a first kill in any Chucky movie. Twice as long as any of the others, actually. Chucky hops on the computer and finds Andy's information, revealing he's 16 and is now at Kent Military Academy. Let's go there. Great, now we're here, and I immediately regret it. The military school setting just bores me, and it's one of the reasons the sequel does nothing for me. Andy doesn't look like he's a big fan either, and is meeting with the head of the school, Colonel Cochran. Cochran tells him he needs to let go of the idea of killer dolls, and essentially to kill the boy and let the man be born. Part of killing the boy is getting rid of Andy's perfect 90s hair, so he goes to the barber shop where he manspreads and meets the little kid cadet Tyler, who will be our replacement cute kid for this movie. He also meets the barber, Sergeant Botnick, a guy who's so into chopping off hair that it borders on sexual fetish. During Andy's salon appointment, a commercial for Good Guy Dolls comes on and freaks him the fuck out. Tyler has the opposite reaction, getting real pumped about it in slow motion. Andy and his crappy new haircut ends up finding a guy tied up in the closet. It's a fellow cadet named Whitehurst, a vintage variety nerd who complains that he was tied up in the closet by Lieutenant Colonel Shelton, a big old bully who also targets Andy with drill sergeant techniques he surely learned by watching Full Metal Jacket while falling asleep every night. As Shelton is harassing Andy and Whitehurst, he gets called out by Cadet De Silva, who shows how tough she is by doing the 20 push-ups he demands of her, even if she stands up super funny when she's done. Cadet Tyler is instructed to deliver this giant box to Andy, and after 2 movies of watching these obscenely sized Good Guy dolls, we know exactly what's inside. Tyler discovers the contents of the package too when it gets knocked out of his hands and tumbles down the steps, tearing open the packaging to reveal the Good Guys logo. This excites him like he's Tommy Jarvis coming across a bunch of skinny dipping teens, so he runs off with it to inspect it up close. Chucky bursts out of the box and is not too pleased to see Tyler.
Who the fuck are you?
I thought you guys only said 3 sentences.
I'm new and improved.
Tyler takes a liking to Chucky, who realizes that with his brand new body, he can change the rules and transfer his soul into Tyler's body as long as he's the new first person he tells his full name to.
My real name is Charles Lee Ray.
Chucky gets straight to work with his favorite game.
What do you call this game anyway?
Hide the soul.
And starts his ritual with Tyler.
Bella. Give me the power I beg of you.
The clouds roll in, but it's interrupted by Colonel Cochran, who reprimands Tyler for playing with dolls and takes Chucky out to the trash. As Cochran takes Chucky to the dumpster, Andy sees them both and starts getting some PTSD. Shelton yells at Andy for getting distracted, and he makes some other kid quote his favorite movie.
This is my rifle. This is my gun. This is for shooting. And this is for fun.
Probably not the best idea to constantly remind viewers of a far superior movie in a similar setting. But you know what? You do you, Child's Play 3. Chucky gets thrown in the dumpster, but when he's transferred into the garbage truck, he starts screaming and pretending to be a kid trapped back there, alarming the driver, who gets out and climbs into the back of the truck to be a good Samaritan. Chucky climbs out and starts the garbage truck up, trapping the poor driver inside, where he gets crushed and grinded to death for our second kill of the film. Dude made a living off that truck, but Chucky made a killing off it. That night, after Andy sets up his room with pictures of his mom, Chucky attacks him and tells him that Andy's body is old news, and that he's going after Tyler now. Andy throws a shoe at him, honestly, who does that? And starts beating the crap out of him just in time to look crazy when Shelton walks in. Shelton threatens Andy because it was his shoe that got thrown, and then takes Chucky away to send to his kid sister for her birthday. Later, when Andy tries to sneak into Shelton's room to get Chucky back, he only manages to wake Shelton up, allowing Chucky to escape. The lieutenant colonel gets real pissed and makes all the other cadets march around outside as punishment. While this group flogging is going on, Tyler's trying to engage Chucky in a game of hide and seek, which is a much funner game than Hide the Soul. They're found hanging out in Colonel Cochran's closet by De Silva and her friend, who talk to Chucky, prompting him to say his catchphrase.
Hi, I'm Chucky, and I'm your friend to the end. Heidi ho!
De Silva takes
Also, if any of my mods are, what's it called? Editors, can you guys help me edit out the swear words, please? I could use some help with that because I don't have an editor and I can't edit.
her lipstick and gets Chucky a purty mouth.
Because honestly, that's why my live streams have so much swearing in it. I try to swear little as possible, but I swear when I'm angry for entertainment, and obviously, as you saw with the Chucky one, when I can't damn fit a costume and it doesn't go my way. The only one that stinking fits is Wolverine, not Chucky anymore. So Chucky's pretty much dead.
The noise scares them back to bed, so they leave Chucky behind in Cochran's office as he comes down to investigate. When Chucky pops out with his knife to kill him, Cochran grabs at his chest. Is that dude having a heart attack?
You gotta be fucking kidding me.
We're not Chucky, because he is. He must have been so shocked at seeing a boy in lipstick, his ticker just couldn't handle it anymore. He falls backwards into his regulation glass display of military models that all commanders must have in their office and dies, his face a sweaty, sweaty mess.
The gray man, it's not real.
After a moment of silence at breakfast the next morning, Sergeant Botnick makes his rounds looking for his next victim and probably giving himself blue balls with all the heads of hair he keeps grabbing. Andy tries to talk to Tyler and tell him that Chucky's a bad guy, not a good guy, and even though Tyler doesn't believe him, Andy gives him his knife for protection. Sweet, free knife. Botnick gets off cutting Whitehurst's hair, even delivering what he probably thinks is a pretty cool catchphrase.
Presto. You're bald.
And then he finds Chucky and is like, oh.
Presto, you're dead.
I've never used a doll for this before. Wonder what it feels like. He goes to give Chucky a buzz cut, but Chucky fights back with a razor and turns his shitty line back around on him.
Presto.
You're dead.
Hey, turns out a shitty
That's right, Chuckster, you tell him.
line repurposed makes for an even shittier line. Who'd have thought? With his throat slit and bleeding out, Botnick dramatically looks at the man in the mirror and then collapses backwards onto his barber chair, dying during his profession like so many other people in these movies. Whitehurst comes back to find Chucky standing behind Botnick's body, but gets scared away with a single boo. He runs outside where the cadets are getting briefed for their annual war games where they'll be using paintball guns to shoot at each other. Chucky oversees this and decides to make things more interesting by replacing the paintballs in the red team guns with live ammunition, which I'm sure is totally possible and not just a convenient writing shortcut here. On the march out to their playtime war, Andy tries to press Whitehurst to get him to admit to what he saw, but Whitehurst is a big baby and refuses to say anything. That night at battle camp, after some ghost stories around the campfire, Andy and De Silva go off alone into the woods where they look at a carnival going on.
Pretty cool, huh?
I guess. It's a carnival. Andy goes along with it, though, and says carnivals are super cool, and that earns him a steamy woodsy makeup sesh. Andy sneaks out of his blue team camp to go find Tyler, who's on the red team, and protect him. But when he gets to Tyler's tent, he finds him AWOL, because he and Chucky are out in the woods playing Chucky's favorite game.
We can play hide the soul.
I'm tired. I don't want to play that dumb game anymore.
Yeah, I'm with you, Tyler. That game needs some new DLC to keep it fresh. Chucky hates DLC, though, so he takes out his knife and threatens Tyler, causing Tyler to take Andy's knife out and stab Chucky in the shoulder. Meanwhile, the blue team is moved out for a late-night attack, and they find Andy before he can locate Tyler. Andy asks Whitehurst for backup on his story, but Whitehurst keeps his mouth shut because he knows the policy. Don't ask about killer dolls, don't tell about killer dolls. The blue team captures Tyler when he runs to them for help, and Chucky radios in to tell them to hand over the little boy where the love interest gets killed, since he captured De Silva earlier and is now holding her captive with a grenade. Then he radios the red team and tells them to come to the same location as the blue team, because he's one chaotic evil dude. Andy and Chucky meet up and make their prisoner exchange, trading Tyler for De Silva, which, like, what the fuck, Andy? The blue team shows up and Chucky flips Shelton the bird, distracting him long enough to stand there dumbfounded as the red team arrives and shoots him with their live ammunition. The real bullet goes straight through Shelton and kills him in what is one of the most mean...
Hint for next time, Chucky, if you're gonna be a psycho nut job, you should have threw 2 bombs. That would have been your perfect ending for the stupid movie.
spirited kills I've ever seen. Like, Chucky just gave whoever
Threw one for this dang guy with the glasses and then threw another one for the rest.
fired that rifle.
I'm not trying to sound like a crazy person. I'm just saying that's how it should. That was an alternate ending right there. While they were all fighting, that's what he should have done. I'm not a crazy person, though. I'm just saying, like, as a alternate ending to the story, that's what he should have done. But because he only threw one, he got his face sliced off at the end of the stinking film because of it. What a dumb doll.
PTSD for the rest of his fucking life. I should add that Red Team cadet's emotional well-being to the kill count, honestly. To spice things up even further, Chucky takes his grenade and lobs it through the air in slow motion to land right next to the group of cadets who are too busy arguing to notice it. Whitehurst sees it, though, and leaps on it just in the nick.
That's your mistake. You only had enough to get rid of one. You should have threw another one to get rid of the rest. I'm not trying to sound like some kind of, maniac. I'm not trying to be that at all. I'm just simply saying that if he wanted to get rid of the rest of them in the movie, that's what he should have done.
Of time blowing the fuck up and totally redeeming himself with the 6th kill of the movie. Way to go, Whitehurst. You lived a coward, but died a hero. Tyler manages to get away during all this confusion, running to that carnival. That's pretty cool, huh? He tries to enlist a security guard for help, giving a cute little salute in the process, but I guess Chucky managed to beat him there because the guard presents him to Tyler as a gift. Alex and De Silva also arrive at the pretty cool carnival and find the body of the security guard lying on the ground behind his desk. Looks like, what, shot in the head? Is that what's going on here? I guess so, but not with his own gun. That's still on him, so De Silva loots his corpse and takes it because she is a smart cookie. Chucky directs Tyler into into a ride called the Devil's Layers. I guess now he cares about ambiance for his incantation. Shit, last movie he was doing it in the back of a newspaper truck, but this time he feels the need to do it surrounded by a bunch of fake skeletons? Who knows, maybe it'll help the process. By the way, look at this gigantic freaking ride. There's no fucking way this thing is part of a pop-up carnival. You think a bunch of drunk carnies are gonna hang that many fake cobwebs? Hell nah. Andy and De Silva track them down, but Chucky's a faster draw, so he shoots De Silva in the leg and gets away. She gives Andy her gun as Tyler escapes into, what is this, another giant fucking room in this ride? What the hell? And why are they running it without any people in the cars? And why is that robot Reaper's sight so sharp? Sharp enough to slice off part of Chucky's face as he's trying to get Tyler. This ride is fucking insane, yo. Chucky then keeps stalking Tyler down, causing the kid to become the mother of dragons and fly on a prop that probably costs more than this carnival makes in a week. Chucky hitches the ride on its feet, so both he and Tyler wind up at the top of this mountain when the dragon knocks Tyler on his ass. Chucky starts his reanimation incantation.
A day to weekend, Bella.
And gets about as far as he always does, with a giant ominous cloud sweeping in over the carnival, before Andy manages to climb to the top of the mountain and shoot off Chucky's champion arm. Then he shoots him in the chest, knocking him down and away from Tyler. When Chucky does his usual "I'm not dead yet" jump scare, Tyler gives Andy his knife back and Andy uses it to cut off Chucky's hand. Then he pushes him off his back so he falls for a very long time, straight into a dangerously open giant fan blade that's just chilling inside this, again, let me stress, pop-up fucking carnival operation. The fan blows him to pieces and gives us our Chucky death of the film. And this is one of the most satisfying Chucky deaths in the series, since that fan chopped up everything, so it definitely killed the heart. De Silva is taken to the hospital as Andy looks after her, then he's taken away in a cop car for a future that'll surely ruin his development as a functional human being even more. The movie ends with the carnival shutting down, probably for fucking good, after their expensive-ass devil ride got fucked up with a bunch of blood and doll parts. So yes, once again, Chucky winds up dead. But hey, you know what? It's not about the destination death, but the kills he made along the way. How many kills was that? Let's find out and get to the numbers. Just like in the previous film, 8 people died in Child's Play 3. Unlike either of its predecessors, though, all the victims in this movie were male, giving us one of those rare instances of a vic list consisting entirely of one gender. At a runtime of 89 minutes, that leaves us with a kill on average about every 11 minutes. I'll give the golden chainsaw for coolest kill to Chucky. It's one of those kills you always wish people would try on seemingly unstoppable killers. Just chop them up into a billion different pieces. How they about to come back from that? Well, Jennifer Tilly will show us next week. Dull Machete for lamest kill will have to go to the carnival security guard. I almost gave it to Shelton just because of how mean that kill is, but it's hard to get lamer than a single off-screen gunshot wound. And that's it. Child's Play 3 came out in 1991 and would be the last Chucky movie for a full 7 years, as Don Mancini felt that Chucky's escapades were getting too repetitious at this point. Everything would change after Scream revitalized the slasher genre and paved the way for Bride of Chucky in '98, which we'll be looking at next week. Until then, I'm James A. Janice. This has been the Kill Count. Hey guys, thanks a lot for watching the Kill Count for
Child's Play 3. There, I said it for him.
Welcome to the Kill Count, where we tally up the victims in all our favorite horror movies. I'm James A. Janice, and today we're looking at Bride of Chucky, released in 1998, 7 years after the previous film in the series, Child's Play 3. Bride of Chucky marks a hard turn for the series in several ways. Whereas the original trilogy consisted of horror films that steadily added more and more humor to Chucky's character, Bride of Chucky borders on full-out parody. Influenced by Scream, like so many other late 90s horror films, it's full of snappy one-liners, self-referential humor, and a metatextual awareness of the genre it belongs to. It also puts Chucky's name directly into the movie title, eschewing the Child's Play moniker to reflect the fact that Chucky is no longer an antagonist tormenting a hero we're supposed to be rooting for. He's now the main character and the star of the show. Joining him is Jennifer Tilly as his ex-lover Tiffany, and Tilly's willingness to get ridiculous in this and future sequels is the single best addition the franchise could have asked for. Despite all the added laughs, Bride also sees a huge increase in how many people get killed. Here, I'll prove it to you. Let's get to the kills. The movie begins at a police department evidence depository where Scream's influence is on full effect in the way a bunch of other horror movies are acknowledged and referenced, and the stuff kept in. One of the lockers has an unsolved label on it, and Officer Bailey fishes out the contents of it for a shady, dirty cop deal. He calls his contact, and her voice can only mean one thing. Hello. That's right, it's Jennifer Tilly. And she is not a nice person in this movie, because while Bailey's waiting for the exchange to go down, he gets his head yanked back and his throat slit. Blood gushes out of his neck, and his head falls backwards out of the driver's seat for our first kill only 3 minutes into the movie. And yeah, he got killed by Jennifer Tilly and her cleavage. She whips some blood off her finger and steals Bailey's personalized lighter before picking up Chucky's fucked up face and throwing some Louis Armstrong at him.
Well, hello, Dolly.
Rob Zombie's Living Dead Girl kicks in as the credits start and continues in full effect as the very meaty title card comes up. God, I love this album. Looks like Tiffany, Jennifer Tilly's character, is super obsessed with Chucky, as evidenced by all the news articles about him, which include this movie's one and only reference to former protagonist Andy Barkley. She digs into her stash of spare doll parts and starts putting Chucky back together with stitches and staples. Before long, she finishes her little Pinterest project and leans back in ecstasy, apparently sexually excited over her job well done that gives us Chucky's new look. And the look of my Chucky doll behind me. Hi, Chucky. While she's busy doing God knows what with that doll, we get to meet our human cast. They include John Ritter as hard-ass Chief of Police Warren Kincaid and his niece Jade, played by a 20-year-old Katherine Heigl. She tells him she's going to prom with this inoffensive kind of dweeby guy, David, but in actuality, as soon as they get in the car, she starts making out with her real paramour, the apparently bad boy Jesse. The gay David is not impressed by their voracious hetero-saliva exchange, but before he can get too grossed out, they're pulled over by a cop they refer to as Needle Nose. Wonder why they call him that. Oh, actually, yeah, that nickname makes perfect sense.
Okay, so about that one part.
Again.
If I had a girl that was doing this, I would have gotten out of the car and be like, here, you drive to the place you want to go. You want to start making out in the back of my car? Then you go ahead and drive to the damn place you want to go. I ain't driving. I ain't dealing with this. If you know what I'm talking about, then you know. If you don't, then you know.
David is not impressed by their voracious hetero-saliva exchange, but before he can get too grossed out, they're pulled over by a cop they refer to as Needle Nose. Wonder why they call him that. Oh, actually, yeah, that nickname makes perfect sense. He gives them a breathalyzer, and Warren shows up to take Jade home. Jesse gets pissed.
You fuck. But you won't. Not Jade anyway, not anymore.
Oh shit, Warren, too bad you ain't the chief of the fire department because Jesse just got burned. The Kincaids leave and David suggests that Jesse just take Jade and flee the city. God, I'm already so sick of these teens in the shitty Romeo-Juliet store. Back in her trailer of sex and death, Tiffany puts Chucky in the middle of a pentagram and gets to work with a Voodoo for Dummies book. She goes through that incantation we all pretty much know by heart by now. Give me the power I make of you. Yo, where are them rolling clouds, though?
I'm also not talking because I'm still upset about the stupid Chucky costume failure. Other than that, I'm exhausted at this point. So don't mind me if I'm not talking much.
You got the rolling clouds? Maybe that's why it doesn't
Pay it no mind.
seem to work, and Chucky's still lying there like a dummy when she's done with it. Tiffany's boy toy Damien shows up, played by the late Alexis Arquette, and he tries to impress her with a Polaroid of a guy he killed. Dude just looks like mankind to me, but Tiffany recognizes that it's actually Damien in makeup. Jeez, Damien.
You never really actually killed anybody, did you?
Yeah, friggin' wuss can't even kill anyone. You know who can though? Chucky. And it looks like the chanting actually worked after all, because that dog is gone. Damien tries to seduce Tiffany, but she's pretty obviously not into it at all. That is until Chucky shows up and gets back to his old catchphrases.
Hi, I'm Chucky. Wanna play?
Damien says Chucky is so 80s, the first of many scream-like meta lines in the movie, and Tiffany tricks Damien into getting handcuffed to the bed. She does a sexy dance for him and Chucky and tells Damien that she used to be Chucky's girlfriend back before he got killed a decade prior. Chucky reveals himself to Damien in that delightful exorcist way that he seems to be so fond of, and gets straight to killing, pulling out Damien's lip ring to give us a real nice volume of blood gushing out of his lip, and then stuffing a pillow over Damien's head and sitting on it to suffocate him. Damien becomes our second kill of the movie, struggling while Tiffany and Chucky have their reunion before finally giving up and dying. It's a memorable death, but it makes me sad now thinking of the real.
I thought he was the first. My mind right now was thinking he was the first death, but then I remembered the copper that Tiffany got rid of. I just remembered that. Okay, never mind.
Life death of Alexis Arquette. Rest in peace. Tiffany tells Chucky she's always kept the ring he left for her, but after he reveals that it wasn't meant for a proposal and in fact laughs his ass off at the very idea of marrying her, Tiffany gets real upset and tells Chucky she likes him this way.
You're just like a little baby. Is the little baby ticklish?
Can you imagine Child's Play 1 Chucky laughing while being tickled? We're a long way from the grimy streets of Chicago, man. Tiffany locks Chucky in this baby crib she had made for a future little murder family and finishes off her night with a good cry sesh next to Damien's dead body. Man, at least uncuff one side of him so you can make room for yourself there, Tiff. The next morning, she comes outside and talks to Jesse, who happens to live a few trailers over. She has him help her move this trunk with Damien's body inside into the trunk of her car. She hits on Jesse, but he stays loyal to Jade and tells Tiff he's seeing someone. She laments how all the good guys are taken. A fun line since she has a good guy right inside, just, locked up inside a baby crib. She teases Chucky by giving him a bride doll to call his own and throws rice in his face. dolls, which probably gets stuck in some of those giant face gadgets. Her joke's on her, because when she's taking a bubble bath and watching Bride of Frankenstein, Chucky uses the doll's wedding ring to carve his way out of the crib. He takes the doll and a knife into the bathroom and interrupts Tiffany's movie time. His first attack fails, but he recovers and knocks the TV into Tiffany's bath to electrocute her to death for our third kill of the movie. This was actually the original plan for Chucky's first ever kill in the series, Maggie, back in the original film, before they changed it to her falling out the window. And on a personal note, even though we'll have Tilly's voice acting for the rest of the film, I will miss seeing her in person. Content with this kill, Chucky takes the bride doll and does a celebration incantation. It goes off without a hitch. Rarity. He successfully transfers Tiffany's soul into the bride doll. Chucky tells her the only way to get their souls out of the doll bodies is to retrieve an amulet called the Heart of Damballa, which is buried with Charles Lee Ray's corpse in New Jersey. Now, while Chucky's chant has always included a shout out to Damballa since the very first movie, this is definitely the first time an amulet has ever been mentioned, and he definitely wasn't actually wearing it in the first film back in 1988. But hey, you got a retcon? You got a retcon. To get to New Jersey, Tiffany calls up Jesse and offers him some cash money to drive the dolls there since they can't drive themselves, since, you know, they're dolls. Then she gives herself a hashtag doll makeover to personalize her new body and really tillify it. Way to make it your own, Tiff. Jesse swings by Jade's house on the way and tells her to run away and elope with it. Chucky conveys exactly how I feel about this plotline. Jade asks what they'll do about money, but Jesse tells her he's got it all figured out.
She's paying me $500 to take a couple of the dolls to a friend of hers in Jersey. Jade, there's another $500 when we get there.
Yep. $1,000. High schools need to have mandatory personal finance classes, man. While they run off to go pack Jade's stuff, her Uncle Warren breaks into Jesse's van so he can plant some kush on her. Chucky gets ready to do some stabbing, but Tiffany admonishes him for his unoriginality.
For God's sake, Chucky, drag yourself into the 90s.
They find a jar of nails and improvise a very unlikely trap, deploying the airbag to shoot a bevy of nails straight into Warren's face, knocking him down and causing him to give a little twitch. With Jesse and Jade on their way back to the van, the dolls act fast and somehow manage to stuff Warren's body into a chest and clean up the mess they made. So everything's fine and dandy as Jesse and Jade take off on their stupid high school love plan. They don't make it very far before they get a needle nose up their ass, though. He pulls them over in the middle of a teenage parking lot hangout party, possibly the worst place to do illegal drugs, you idiots. Jade ends up getting so pissed at Needle Nose that she takes a swing at him, which, like, what the fuck? Shouldn't she be in more trouble for that? Instead, he just searches their van, but before he can open the chest and find Warren's body, Chucky tosses the bag of weed down, and Needle Nose finds that instead. He tells Jesse he's gonna be in big trouble, mister, and Jesse takes it out on his van. Shit! Okay, that was pretty fun. Realizing this will slow them down and screw up their plans, Chucky takes Bailey's lighter from Tiffany and crawls his creepy ass over to Officer Norton's car and creates a fuse into his gas tank with a shirt that he then lights on fire. On his way back, he drops the lighter and gets spotted by a stoner who he promptly flips off.
Rude fucking doll.
Officer Norton smells smoke, but before he can do anything about the fire he sees in his side view mirror, Chucky and Tiffany wave goodbye and he gives a hearty death yell right as his car blows the fuck up, incinerating him inside for the fourth kill of the film. Fun fact, actor Michael Lewis Johnson is now a bartender in Toronto. I found that interesting. Jesse and Jade get in the van amidst accusations that they're the ones who blew up the car, and they drive off, leaving a mini demolition derby in their wake. They're now full-on fugitives on the run. Okay, here's the part that really makes me not care about these characters. Both of them immediately suspect the other one did it.
I think you're fucking crazy.
If you're that quick to assume someone blew up a car in cold murder, maybe you shouldn't be planning on eloping with them. Maybe you never even loved them at all in the first place. David calls them and tells them they're under suspicion for multiple murders since the cops found Bailey's lighter at the scene of the crime. And he also informs them that Warren is missing. Knowing they need to hang low for a while, they stop off in Niagara Falls and go to a chapel where they're just gonna plow ahead with that whole wedding idea anyway. While both of them go through and reluctantly say I do, Chucky fist bumps to some music on the radio, and he and Tiffany get surprised by Warren popping out of the chest because he's still alive, yo! Chucky turns to his old classic to stop Warren from escaping, stabbing him a whole bunch of times in the back with his handy-dandy knife. This finally does kill Warren Kincaid and gives us our fifth kill of the film. Jesse and Jade watch the news and see Detective Lieutenant Preston talk about how one of them might be held captive by whichever one is doing the killing, and of course they both get suspicious of each other. Talk about a short honeymoon phase. The tension in the room turns sexual when they're interrupted by Russ and Diane, two other newlyweds who say they have the wrong room, but also seem like they'd be down for some swinging. Jade doesn't look into it. Sorry, Russ. Diane pockets Jesse's wallet, which doesn't go unnoticed by Tiffany, so a little bit later, Tiff sneaks into the room and breaks up their lovemaking and the ceiling mirror with a champagne bottle. She tosses it up and it smashes against the glass, causing mirror shards to rain down upon them, splicing them all to pieces, bursting open the waterbed and tossing water and blood, and causing an emotional awakening in Chucky.
I love you.
He takes the ring off Diane's severed finger and proposes to Tiffany. She accepts and gets so happy she starts crying actual tears, which prompts this little thought.
I wonder if all the plumbing works.
Dear God. But I mean, it's not like they're anatomically correct.
I am anatomically correct.
Wait. Bride of Chucky, we're not gonna have a doll sex scene, are we? Oh my God, we're gonna have a doll sex scene. At least it's in silhouette, and at least Tiffany provides some good sex ed to the viewers.
Have you got a rubber?
Look at me. I'm all rubber.
Who am I kidding? Nothing's gonna change the fact that we just watched two murderous dolls have sex with each other. While Chucky and Tiffany consummate their love, Jesse and Jade grow further apart. They each call David in turn, telling him that they're convinced the other one is responsible for all the murders. Ooh, but Jade doesn't want to go to the police because she still loves him. Holy shit, fuck this storyline. At least this movie gives us some Kathy Najima as the hotel maid who discovers the massacred bodies of Russ and Diane. She's always fun. Jade and Jesse make a getaway, but not before David pops in to lecture them about how they're both crazy for thinking the other is a killer. He successfully talks them into loving each other again, so like, thanks for prolonging this bullshit, David. And then he notices blood coming out of the chest in the back. He opens it to find Warren's body, freaking out, but not too much to grab Warren's gun. He holds the lovers up and makes them pull over, showing them Warren's body, which makes them immediately turn on each other again. Oh my God, just kill each other and get it over with. Instead, Chucky and Tiffany finally reveal themselves to the kids, freaking out David so much that he leaps out in front of a truck. His body splatters all to pieces when he gets hit by it, giving us a semi-accidental, semi-murder, semi-truck kill for our 8th of the film. Oh man, that truck driver's insurance rates are probably fucked. Chucky and Tiffany explain the whole situation to Jesse and Jade, dropping in another super meta line while they do.
It's a long story. In fact, if it was a movie, it would take 3 or 4 sequels just to do it justice.
To be more inconspicuous, they steal an RV, apparently killing this elderly couple to do so. An off-screen twofer, you don't see that happen very often, and because everything in this movie is played for laughs, we're supposed to just brush aside that this poor innocent elderly couple was terrified and murdered by a couple of possessed dolls. Tiffany gets Jade ready to be her body and starts playing the housewife, but Jesse and Jade manage to turn the dolls against each other by starting a domestic argument about dirty dishes.
Those dishes aren't gonna wash themselves, you know.
Yep, they get real pissed at each other over some dishes. Their argument goes on so long that Jade's able to kick Tiffany into the oven and Jesse's able to palm Chucky straight out the window, dodging his gunshot in the process, but still crashing his RV off the road because of it. Tiffany escapes the oven and attacks Jade, but Jesse tosses Tiffany away and ushers Jade out of the RV. Then sparks and gas or something cause a fire that ends up blowing the RV to pieces, because you might as well have a big explosion in this movie too. Chucky forces Jade to take him to the cemetery so he can get the amulet from his grave. Once they get there, he shoots the gravedigger in the head just off screen for another kill. The gravedigger was exhuming his body because the police found Charles Lee Ray's fingerprints at a crime scene or something. I don't know, guys. I kind of lost the plot after the scene with the two dolls fucking. Jade opens Ray's coffin and retrieves the amulet, tossing it up to Chucky. Then Jesse shows up with a gun to Tiffany. The boys do a prisoner exchange, which we just saw in Child's Play 3, but whatever. Chucky trades Jade for Tiffany, who laments that she doesn't have a real good guy to herself. Then Chucky throws his knife into Jesse's back. Ooh, that's gotta hurt. And then Jade gives the knife back to Chucky? What? Why? Why did that even happen? What? This movie's really lost me, guys. Chucky ties the two teens up. Oh, I guess the knife toss was to stop them from getting away, and then starts up his chant again. Guys, I'm starting to think Chucky has a real incantation infatuation. Before he can finalize the process, Tiffany comes up and gives him a kiss with her charred lips, then literally stabs him in the back because she thinks they both deserve to be together in hell. The two of them have a good old-fashioned shovel fight, which someone definitely needs to edit with Duel of the Fates underneath, until Chucky's able to get the upper hand by impaling Tiffany with his knife. But then Jesse whacks him with his shovel straight into his open grave right as Lieutenant Preston shows up and holds Jesse and Jade at gunpoint. He sees Chucky run around, which, you know, it's gotta be pretty weird for him, and then Jade takes Preston's gun and shoots Chucky a bunch of times, apparently killing him in the lamest death that Chucky has ever faced in this entire series. I guess there's only so many times you can be thrown into a giant fan or get your melted head blown up. Preston sends the kids off to live their shitty lives together while he calls in some reinforcements. He checks out the rest of the place and finds Tiffany's burnt body, and while he's getting a closer look, she wakes back up screaming in pain because guess what? She's having a baby! Preston's face gets covered in birth blood, and during the delivery, Tiffany dies. Real bummer to go out like that. Wonder if it would have happened had she not been burnt alive an hour earlier. Tiffany may die, but her little demon hellspawn survives and leaps straight into action, pouncing on Preston's face. Since the screen cuts to black, I'm just gonna assume this little abomination gnawed Preston to death and consider him the 14th and final kill of the film. After that, the credits roll, so this weird-ass movie is finally over. Could it back up?
If you couldn't tell, this live stream is not for children.
Let's deep dive into humor and meta references with a decent-sized body count. Let's find out and get to the numbers. Yeah, get to the numbers. I'll see you at the numbers. More than doubling the body count of the original movie, Bride of Chucky features 14 kills. Of the victims, 10 were male while only 4 were female, a more than 2-to-1 gender imbalance. With a runtime of 88 minutes, that comes out to a kill on average every 6.29 minutes, the most frequent in the series so far. Golden Chainsaw for Coolest Kill has a couple...
I'm just gonna say it once, but if you haven't known that this wasn't for children, then one thing's for sure. Kids should not be watching this. This has sexual content if you couldn't tell already. And a lot of swear words and other horror stuff. So I don't want kids getting traumatized or any of that other bad stuff. So if there's any other kids in here that's, you know, not like a teen or my age or whatever, I don't think they should be watching this.
Of options, but I'll give it to Chief Warren Kincaid. The nails in his face are a nice little homage to Pinhead, and then he kept gigging, which gave us a fun montage cutting back and forth between his ultimate murder and the marriage between the lovebirds that murdered my enjoyment of this movie. Dull machete for lamest kill will go to the elderly couple killed off screen. It's nothing more than a throwaway gag, and it's actually one that kind of bums me out. I bet they were nice. And that's it. Bride of Chucky changed the Chucky franchise forever, because it's kind of hard to come back from an extended scene featuring dolls having sex. Instead of altering course, Don Mancini actually doubled down on the ridiculousness with the next entry, Seed of Chucky. I'll cover that hot mess next week, but until then, I'm James A. Janice. This has been the Kill Count. Hey guys, thanks a lot for watching the Kill Count for Bride of Chucky. I want to thank some of my patrons.
We're almost done. 3 movies left. And it looks like you're the last one, Goku-san. You're the only one left, buddy. Everyone else left.
Welcome to the Kill Count, where we tally up the victims in all our favorite horror movies. I'm James A. Janice, and today we're looking at the 5th Chucky movie, Seed of Chucky, released in 2004 and the last in the series to have a theatrical release. Seed of Chucky served as the directorial debut of Don Mancini, the man who created Chucky and wrote all the films in the series. Mancini wanted to take the franchise even further into comedy, so we wound up with this. If you thought Bride was weird, get ready for a movie featuring Redman, John Waters, and Jennifer Tilly playing herself. Throw in a healthy batch of meta commentary and themes of fighting addiction and gender dysphoria, and maybe you got a stew going. Whether or not you want to eat that stew is a different issue entirely. But hey, for all the crazy shit going on in this movie, at least there are still a whole bunch of kills. So let's get to them. The movie begins with sperm. Yep, that's right. The opening credits play over a bunch of little Chucky sperms swimming through a vaginal canal and making a little Chucky zygote. If only this were the limit of doll sperm in this movie, but alas, there will be more. After that Miracle of Life credit sequence, we have a first-person perspective of a doll given to a little British girl named Claudia as a gift. Too bad she thinks it's ugly AF and throws it back in the box. That night, the audience surrogate doll grabs a knife and heads upstairs, where it's picked up by British daddy Richard. The doll wastes no time stabbing Richard in the chest and riding him over the upstairs banister, giving us our first kill of the movie a mere 5 minutes in, when Richard hits the ground and dies. Our Avatar doll continues his homage to Halloween and heads back upstairs into the bathroom where the nameless British mummy is taking a shower. The doll sneaks up on her but drops the knife before he can stab her, still shocking her enough to fall out of the tub and onto the bathroom floor, where she cracks her head open and dies. Fun fact, this is the first time since a Friday film that I've had to censor a nipple. It's also the only occurrence of human nudity in the Chucky series so far. The doll catches a glimpse of itself in the mirror before moving on to find the little girl Claudia, but when he finally does find her, he only manages to piss himself while she yells at him.
You're pissing your pants! You're pissing your pants!
He wakes up to find out it was all a dream and he's living a very Pinocchio-like existence, captive in a cage and forced to perform a stage show with this ventriloquist named Sykes. Also, his name is Shitface, which is pretty funny. But hold on, this is a ventriloquist competition and it's more bumping than Bonnaroo? I don't know what world this movie takes place in, but I bet Jeff Dunham's the equivalent to Jimi Hendrix in it. If only he'd light those racist puppets on fire. Shitface gives us a voiceover narration pondering his existence. He knows he's Japanese, he has violent dreams even though he'd never heard it fly, and he really wants to know where his parents are. Cut to another scene where a guy dressed as Santa is having some problems with his sack. He finds Chucky sitting by a tombstone, and as he's getting a closer look, Tiffany comes behind him and starts strangling him with a slinky. Everyone loves a strangle. Chucky slashes his fake stomach and rips off his fake beard, complaining about the effects a fake Santa could have on one's psyche.
With your mind!
With your mind!
With your
mind!
He's broke again! Turns out Chucky's malfunctioning because this is a movie set and that Santa's not really dead. Yep, taking a page right from the Scream sequel, Seed of Chucky features a film within a film about the events of the earlier movie of the franchise, but in a move that outmetas even the crappiest of the Scream movies, by which I mean Scream 3, obviously. Jennifer Tilly is actually an actress in this movie. It's Jennifer Tilly playing Tiffany in a fake movie, and also voicing actual Tiffany in this actual movie. You should really just buckle up for a mindfuck for this one, folks. Jennifer complains about not getting any good roles anymore, so her assistant Joan mentions that Redman, yes, the rapper Redman, is casting a movie and looking for someone to play the Virgin Mary. Jennifer jumps at the opportunity as a way to reinvent her image. A television broadcast about the Chucky movie is seen by Shitface, and when Chucky waves goodbye to the audience with a "fuck you very much," Shitface notices he has the same Made in Japan stamp on his wrist. Convinced that he's found his parents, he doesn't hesitate to escape from his cage, somehow outrunning Sykes in this weird shot and then riding a garbage truck to freedom. A freaking Indiana Jones sequence shows his passage across the Atlantic, where he lands in Hollywood, ready to reunite with Mommy and Daddy. Before he does, though, we have to watch Jennifer's audition with Redman, which kind of makes me want an audiobook of the Bible as read by the two of them. He starts staring at her Tilly, so she takes advantage of it and invites him over to her place in an effort to secure the role over his first choice, Julia Roberts, who also did a weird kind of playing as herself type thing in the second Ocean's movie. Shitface makes his way into the makeup and effects workshop and finds the lifeless animatronics for Chucky and Tiffany, who whips out the heart of Damballa because I guess he has that now, and ends up tapping into some subconscious recognition that the incantation on the back of it is pretty important.
Ade Due Damballa.
Not the best recitation of the incantation, but it still manages to get the job done, reanimating Chucky and Tiffany for another hijinks-filled adventure. Chucky laughs at Shitface's name and makes fun of how ugly and freakish looking he is, a running joke in this movie, even though he's just one diluted pupil away from being David Bowie, the sexiest man who has ever or will ever walk this earth. To get the story moving, Chucky and Tiffany are immediately convinced by the Made in Japan stamp that he is in fact their kid. Tiffany accepts him with open arms. Chucky faints like a sitcom character. They freeze up when the set puppeteer walks in to fix the animatronics due to their earlier malfunction. When he takes the battery cover off of Tiffany, he finds bloody beating organs inside and a wire around his neck, courtesy of Chucky. Chucky and Tiffany decapitate the guy together for the first quote-unquote real kill of the movie. Really fun fact, this guy's name is Tony Gardner and he's playing himself. Dude is an actual makeup and special effects designer who worked on this film and many others, including Zombieland. He also designed the friggin' Geico caveman. Remember when they had their own show for like 2 seconds? While Chucky and Tiffany are turned on by all that neck blood all over their faces, Shitface is so upset by it that he ends up pissing his pants again, causing this misunderstanding to come out into the open.
She just had an accident.
You mean he had an accident?
Yep, apparently they're not sure of Shitface's gender, and doubly not sure when they pull up his pants and find a nice, smooth Ken doll pelvis going on down there. Tiffany insists their child is female, while Chucky is equally adamant about Shitface being male, so they name him both Glenn and Glenda in an homage to the 1953 Ed Wood film. Quick note, I'm just going to be using he pronouns because Glenn ends up choosing to be male in the end, spoiler alert, and it's a lot easier than saying he/she the whole time. Tiffany sneaks into the shop to grab a candy bar she stowed away in Chucky's overalls earlier, then starts playing with Tony's head, thinking it's just a good-looking prop. She eventually realizes her mistake, and after the cops rush over to the lot, a media frenzy occurs, with reporters, including Pete Peters, played by John Waters, ambushing her and asking her if she was involved in the murder at all. Tiffany's just trying to get to her limo, and her driver Stan, who's been practicing saying he loves her for a subplot that pretty much goes nowhere. The dolls all hitch a ride in the back of the limo, somehow sitting there unnoticed in the back while Jennifer rides up front with Stan. They hatch a plan to transfer Tiffany's soul into Jennifer Tilly's body, and Chucky's into Redman. They tell Glenn they'll find a body for him too. The dolls make a new home in Jennifer's attic, and as Chucky and Tiff put Glenn to sleep in the crib, he inquires why they kill. He asks them to stop because, hey, isn't violence bad? Chucky responds with this.
Violins. Violins are bad. That screechy music's gonna ruin the goddamn country.
Damn, Chucky, you've been a father for only an hour and you're already spitting out those dad jokes? Well done. Tiffany takes Glenn's plea to heart, telling Chucky they have an addiction to killing and that they need to stop now that they have to set an example for their kid. Chucky reluctantly agrees, but is crossed fingers and sure that we'll have plenty more bodies for the kill count. Jennifer is setting up her evening with Redman, even though Joan is super against it, pointing out the irony of the whole situation.
You're prostituting yourself so you can play the Virgin Mary.
Jennifer gets so offended that she fires Joan and sends her on her judgmental ass way. Upstairs, Chucky is instructed to fill a cup with semen. Ready for this movie to get even weirder? Great. Because first there's this.
Aren't you gonna give me a hand here?
Oh my god.
Yep, I spent a half hour motion tracking doll nipples to censor them with little good guy faces because that's what my life has become. But wait, there's more! Because Chucky cycles through magazines until he finds one he likes, the industry standard Fangoria, and then starts fapping away. This is great news for Pete Peters, who sneaks onto the grounds, snap pictures of Redman motorboating Tilly, and gets a few bonus shots of what he thinks is a, well,
A masturbation bitch.
guaranteed that's not the first time that phrase has come out of John Waters' mouth. He also watches as Redman makes an aggressive move on Jennifer, causing Tiffany to knock him out. Tiffany freaks out Jennifer, who runs straight into Chuck and his spunk. She's not looking to deal with no doll jizz though, so she tries to run away, only to have Tiff throw an award at her head and knock her unconscious. The dolls put Redman and Tilly on the bed, and Tiffany gets to work with a disgustingly drippy baster full of sperm. Chucky peers at Pete Peters departing the premises, so he wakes up Glenn to take him on a boys' night out. Together they drive a fucking car, which is ridiculous, and even more ridiculous is when they get passed by a douchey driver who turns out to be none other than Britney Spears. No, you idiot, it's not the real one, so don't freak out. But she's supposed to be, so Chucky's about to owe the 2004 music industry a huge amount of money since he runs her car off the road, causing it to crash in a ditch off screen and explode. I'll leave it to Chucky to make the shitty joke here.
Oops, I did it again.
Pete is developing his crystals in the dark room and working on a computer
Oh my
when Chucky
God.
appears behind it. For some reason, he doesn't really question the doll's sudden appearance until he discovers it's the same thing in the picture he took at Tilly's place. In less than 30 seconds, Chucky somehow disappears and makes his way to the ceiling for a Mission Impossible homage, but before he can stick the landing, Glenn cries out for him to stop. Pete is so startled, he backs straight into a rack of chemicals. A jar of sulfuric acid falls from it and crashes down on his head, melting his face off in a gross CG effect. At least it looks practical when it gets all gooey. Tripophobics are probably puking their brains out as Chucky Chucky poses for a victory picture with Pete's corpse and a very downtrodden Glenn. Tilly and Redman wake up, not remembering the night before, although Jennifer vaguely remembers a visit from her guardian angel.
She had the sweetest voice I've ever heard.
In the attic, Tiffany's really attempting to kick her killing habit, going so far as to call the widow of Officer Bailey from Bride of Chucky to apologize for that murder. Chucky references some vague day plans with Glenn, and then it's night again. And during dinner, Jennifer tells Redman that she's pregnant. He says, "Cool story, bro, but the baby can't be his because he's had a vasectomy." He does, however, tell her that she can't be the Virgin Mary anymore if she's pregnant, enraging Tiffany, who overhears through the vent. She calls an eviction hotline, and the operator essentially tells her it's okay to slip up sometimes, I guess. Doing a shit job there, guy, because Tip takes it as an okay to go kill Redman while Jennifer's in the other room on the phone. She slinks up underneath him and stabs him in the crotch, totally eviscerating him beneath the table, leaving his steaming organs on the floor as he takes Jennifer Tilly's advice to heart.
Drop dead.
Glenn walks in on the murder, which for him is probably like walking in on his mom masturbating, and so he understandably twitches out some more. The next morning, Tiffany tells Chucky that voodoo pregnancies are accelerated, and she ain't lying, because Tiffany rocking a full-size loaf in that oven. She calls Joan, and there's a wacky three-way phone conversation where Joan keeps confusing Tiffany's voice for Jennifer Tilly's. Get it? Chucky attacks Tilly, and when Joan says she can hear Jennifer screaming, Tiffany covers it up.
The bound is on cable. Gina Gershon is fingering me.
Damn, I love Tilly's willingness to do or say anything in this movie. Chucky ties her to the bed and gags her, dropping his victory photo in the process, which pisses off Tiffany because she still wants them to quit killing. Then they argue over Glenn's gender until he pops in with his own opinion.
Sometimes I feel like a boy. Sometimes I feel like a girl. Can't I be both?
Yeah, dude, fucking go for it. Glenn also specifies that no matter what, he doesn't want to be a murderer, shocking Chucky, who goes on a rant about how he loves being a killer that ends with him hitting the closet and revealing Redman's body to everyone in the room. As Glenn twitches out even more, Chucky raises the point that Redman was supposed to be his body, so Tiffany picks up the phone to call Stan and tell him she wants his body.
I'll be right there.
Haha, you big stupid. She meant literally. Before Chucky and Tiffany can get to work with their whole incantation situation, they're interrupted by Joan coming over to check on Jennifer, concerned about the phone call she had earlier. She walks in on this, probably thinking Jennifer Tilly into some kinky shit, and Chucky looks poised to kill her, but instead she gets flametorched with a lighter and some hairspray, which makes her stumble back and kind of deliberately climb over that banister. Look at that shit, that ain't natural. Then fall to her death 3 stories down. Kind of reminded me of Maggie's death, Chucky's first kill, back before he was a total joke of a character who jerked off into plastic cups. Chucky comforts the crying killer doll he thinks is Tiffany, even trying to make her feel better by showing that he's been a busy boy. What is that, 3 more kills? An off-screen threefer? Now you're just padding them stats, Chucky. Your kill count should have an asterisk. In any case, turns out the killer wasn't Tiffany, but actually Glenn. Or actually,
Glenda? That's my name. Don't you wear it out?
Glenda gets maniacal, Tiffany slaps her out of it, and Glenn starts to cry actual tears, which just reminds me of back when Chucky and Tiffany first fucked and sent the series down the path that led to all of this. Jennifer gives birth to a little baby boy, who's pretty normal looking it seems, then starts pushing to the limit again, this time giving birth to a little girl. With all that taken care of, Chucky gets to work.
Take to beat him, Bella. Give me the power, I beg of you.
Tiffany interrupts him because Glenn/Glenda hasn't picked which body he or she wants to inhabit yet. Still not sure if this is a split personality type thing or 2 souls in 1 body, but there's no time to think it all out because the cops are arriving and everyone starts screaming their freaking lungs out. Chucky gets overwhelmed and tells everyone to STFU. He says he's done trying to be a human because it kind of sucks anyway, the whole aging and dying thing, and that besides, he's pretty happy as a famous killer doll.
I am Chucky, the killer doll.
And I dig it!
Tiffany ain't down with all that though.
Love
She
it.
still wants to be human, so she breaks up with Chucky right then and there, pissing him off enough to try to throw a knife at her that Stan takes in the chest like a champion. Not exactly sure why he threw down his life to protect a murderous doll that kind of looks like the lady he loves, but whatever, dude. We had to wrap up your useless storyline somehow. Might as well be with another kill. Tiffany knocks Chucky out with a knife, and some cops bust in, finding Jennifer Tilly among a very strange situation, and probably thinking she into like the most kinky shit. In the hospital, she finds out she's been cleared as innocent of the murders, but might be considered unfit to parent. But we know she's not Crazy Tom Banana Pants, since Tiffany and Glenn are real. In fact, they stuck into her room and drug her IV so they can knock her unconscious. Chucky comes and visits with an axe through the door and some meta commentary.
I can't think of a thing to say.
Acting fast, Tiffany gets to work with the chant and tries to switch her soul with Jennifer Tilly. Right as she finishes, though, Chucky axes her in the head, saying that nobody gets to leave him. Tiffany collapses onto the hospital floor and dies. Her last words warning Glenn not to make the same mistake she and Chucky made. Glenn gets mad and attacks Chucky with kung fu noises and front flips and shit, because why not? Jennifer Tilly slides in the axe and he goes straight up fucking psycho on Chucky, cutting off each and every one of his limbs and calling him daddy. catty in the most unnerving way possible. For his part, Chucky shows he's not a hypocrite by telling Glenn he's proud of him for his violence. With one last swing of the axe, he decapitates Chucky, which is apparently enough to kill him nowadays because this franchise gave up on the whole kill the Har thing somewhere back in 1990. Jennifer Tilly comforts Glenn and a shot of the amulet fades to black just in time for a denouement. We jump 5 years into the future into this Hollywood backyard that looks super weird and fake since this entire movie was actually filmed in Romania. A nanny named Ovee complains to Jennifer Tilly that Glenda is a very bad girl, even if Glenn is an angel of a child. I don't blame the nanny for being weirded out though. Look at that evil clown looking little girl. Frickin' weirdo. Ovee quits her job, which enrages Jennifer enough to knock her out with the Tiffany doll and beat her to death with it. Damn, beating the nanny to death at her kid's birthday party? That's like a Robert Durst level of homicidal arrogance. Jennifer's eyes go green, so I guess like Tiffany's body switch thing did work after all. And what was with the Tiffany doll's dying words to Glenn? Is that Jennifer Tilly saying that shit? None of it makes sense. But whatever. Glenn gives a voiceover revealing that he's in the body of this other weird looking ginger, which means like, who's in the Glenda body? Is it just a bad kid? An evil twin soul? I don't know, man. Glenn gets a big box for a birthday present, and inside is Chucky's severed arm, which triggers Glenn enough to pee his pants and twitch his little eye. Finally, the arm grabs at him, ending this ridiculous movie once and for all. Some people count Glenn as a death there, but I think that's stupid. Besides, there's still plenty of other kills in this movie without it. Let's see just how many and get to the numbers! 14 people die in Scene of Chucky, tying bride for the most victims in a Chucky movie. Of the 14, 9 were male while 5 were female, a slightly more even gender distribution than bride. At a runtime of 86 minutes, that's a kill on average every 6.14 minutes, just edging out Bride for the most frequent in the series. Golden Chainsaw for coolest kill will go to Chucky, the second time he's won the award. It's such a comprehensive dismemberment that's full of good-looking blood, and you gotta give props to Chucky for respecting Glenn as he does it. Plus, it ends with a decapitation. Can't go wrong there. Dull Machete for the lamest kill will go to Stan, with a single stab to the chest. I know there was that trio of off-screen deaths, but honestly, those guys seem more consequential to the movie than Stan and his pointless fucking character. And that's it. Seed of Chucky didn't do too hot in theaters, which is probably why the 2 subsequent sequels came out direct to DVD, which is a real shame because the next film in the series, Curse of Chucky, is a totally respectable horror film. We'll be looking at that next week, but until then, I'm James A. Janice. This has been the Kill Count. Hey guys, thanks a lot for watching my Kill Count for Seed of Chucky. I want to thank some of my patrons like...
Almost done. On to the next.
Welcome to the Kill Count, where we tally up the victims in all our favorite horror movies. I'm James A. Janice, and today we're looking at Curse of Chucky, released in 2013, 9 years after Seed, the biggest gap between any 2 films in the Chucky franchise. Curse of Chucky is also the latest film in the series, that is until this Tuesday, October 3rd, when Cult of Chucky comes out on DVD and Blu-ray. Curse of Chucky sees a return to form for the series formerly known as Child's Play. Gone are the self-aware lines, the J-O-ing dolls, and even the little family Chucky had built up. But make no mistake, this is not a reboot to the series, and it doesn't ignore past events. The final 20 minutes of the film connected to everything that came before it, minus one gender-fluid offspring. Chucky also pulls himself into the 2010s with a new look. Will his makeover and the direct-to-DVD release of this movie allow him to give us some amazing kills? Spoiler alert, yes. The movie begins with a delivery, but unlike with Seed, it's not of a newborn baby murder doll. Instead, a regular old package is getting delivered to this giant gothic mansion occupied by mother Sarah and daughter Nika. Nika, who's in a wheelchair and played by Brad Dourif's real-life daughter, Fiona Dourif, answers the door and gets hit on by the delivery guy, who has a giant package for her. The box contains, to no one's surprise, one good guy doll with a new and improved look. Still got the same script, though.
Hi, I'm Chucky. Wanna play?
Neither mother nor daughter knows where it came from or who sent it, though, so Sarah trashes it right away. That night, we hear some screaming, and after Nika takes the house's elevator downstairs to the ground floor, she discovers a very reflective pool of blood that makes her scream and sends her to what's basically the Baby Jane phone to call the police. Looks like Sarah's our first kill of the film, lying in the middle of the floor, having been stabbed by Chucky with some scissors, which we see later in a flashback, but I'll just show it right now. And already, this movie's tone is drastically different than the 2 that came before it. For instance, check out this title card. That's pretty sleek, and Mancini shows a maturity in his filmmaking with stuff like having the camera do a cool spin move around Chucky and reveal a new scene as authorities take Sarah out in a body bag. Later on, Nika gets a visit from her sister Barb. Barb's brought Father Frank along to pray for Sarah's forgiveness, even though Nika and Sarah left the church long ago. So, you know, Nika's not really into it. Sorry, Frank. Also on the scene is Barb's husband Ian, their daughter Alice, who's like regular kid cute, not Andy Barkley crazy cute, and their nanny Jill, who is, well, she's also cute. At least Ian seems to think so. Look at that leer. He goes off to help Jill and Alice, and Barb seems to notice his interest. As Alice is being a big girl and using the potty all by herself, She notices the curtain shift, and after flushing but not washing her hands, she goes and pulls them back to reveal Chucky. There's a little jump scare when he shoots his arm out, but overall, Alice is satisfied with her new giant good guy doll. Cool. How about washing those hands now? Barb is trying to get Nika to move so they can both sell the house since times are hard for her family.
We're gonna have to send Alice to public school.
The others return, and Nika seems surprised by where Alice found Chucky, but that's okay. Alice says Chucky is her friend to the end and hugs him. Chucky apparently takes some amphetamines, because them pupils be doing Requiem for a Dream shit there. Nika offers to cook dinner for everyone, so she gets to work with the poorest knife skills I've ever seen. As she and Alice set the table, Chucky gets up to his old tricks again, pouring some rat poison into one of the bowls of chili. And to her credit, Nika does notice that he's on the floor instead of in the chair now. I like how observant her character is. She's a smart cookie. You know what else I like? Good direction. And this next scene is the best directed sequence since the original trilogy. Dinner is set, none of us knowing which plate is the poisoned one, and as the characters deliberate and change where they want to sit, the camera spins around overhead, giving us a sort of Russian roulette effect where we don't know who's going to eat the poison, even though, you know, we do all know who's going to eat the poison. Still, to fake the audience out a few times, Ian does the classic, oh my god, oh this is so good thing, and Alice says her chili tastes funny. But we're not fooled, Curse of Chucky. We all know the most disposable character is going to be the one who gets got, so it's no surprise when Father Frank starts sweating and excuses himself because he doesn't feel so great. Oh what, he just takes off? And we're going to have an off-screen poison kill? Chucky, that wasn't very considerate of you. We're here to count kills, not guess fatalities. Oh, but wait, now we're at the scene of an accident, and as these cops assess the situation, they pass by two bodies on the ground, giving us our second and third kills of the film. They were victims of a head-on car crash, and you'll never guess who was driving the other car. Actually, yeah, you will. It's Father Frank. And it looks like he's gotten himself into a bit of a pickle there. Officer Stanton tells Frank they're gonna get him out, but when they move the wreckage from around his neck, blood starts pouring out. You done fucked up, Stanton? And it's not just a fountain of blood either. Frank's head rolls back and straight off his body, landing in the backseat of his car while blood spurts from his neck. This kill sets us up for the increased and more realistic gore in this movie. Meanwhile, the Pierce family is hanging out in their spooky castle, watching old home movies that are gonna give us a bunch of retcon. They see Sarah, pregnant with Nika, and when Jill asks what happened to Papa Pierce, Barb says he drowned that year, just weeks before Nika was born. Then whoever's operating the camera starts filming the best Tommy Wiseau impersonator in Chicago that I'm sure they hired for this barbecue. In fact, the next reel is 15 minutes of them tossing a football back and forth. Alice walks in and says Chucky's missing because he's hiding, so Barb sends Alice to bed and Jill off to find Chucky. Her search is fruitless except for giving us a couple of jump scares with some clowns and some windows, although she does notice a knife is missing from the kitchen. Then she runs into Barb, and in a sapphic twist, they start making out, revealing that it's actually Barb who's been having the affair with Jill.
God, I've missed you.
Yep, turns out Barb wants to sell the house so she and Jill can have the money to run away together. Nika finds Chucky vegging out on the couch with Ian, who wakes up and starts cycling through Chucky's scripts.
Hi, I'm Chucky, and I'm your friend till the end.
That one's a classic. Excuse me. I believe the classic line includes a hearty hidey-ho, which this Chucky doll appears to be lacking. Fake, not classic. Anything else?
Yeah, the 80s were awesome.
No they weren't. Nika gives Chucky back to Alice, and Barb lectures Nika on how she needs to have someone living with her because she can't take care of herself. A point she thinks is proven when they realize Nika somehow got a knife wound in her leg, but didn't notice since she can't feel it. A storm rages on outside, dripping water into a bucket in Alice and Jill's room as Barb puts Alice to bed for the night. The thunderbolts and lightning are very, very frightening, so Alice turns to Chucky for comfort, hiding under the covers with him, where Chucky finally comes out to play for real, a full 45 minutes into the movie.
Chucky, I'm scared.
You fucking should be.
And here's the thing, we're halfway through this movie, and this is the first time we've heard Brad Dourif's voice. And to be honest, I didn't even realize it. This movie has such better developed characters and production value than the last few films that it feels much more like the original two, and I mean that as a very high compliment. Downstairs, Nika takes the packing slip from the Chucky delivery and calls a number that was on it, and through a broken up phone conversation, she hears that the doll came from an evidence depository. She also goes online to everyone's favorite search engine, internet search, and looks up Chucky doll evidence, which gives us a bunch of fun little flashbacks to earlier moments in the series, like when it followed the cutest 6-year-old who's ever lived. She looks up a picture of Charles Lee Ray, and hey, it's that dude from the home movie footage. What do you know? Meanwhile, upstairs, Jill undresses to go to sleep and doesn't see Chucky slip out of the bed behind her. She and Barb start having what must be the lowest ping cyber sex of all time, being just down the hall from each other. And honestly, ladies, this is not the best time to be doing this shit, as your cyber-cucked husband sleeps right next to you, Barb. Chucky doesn't really get cyber sex, though, so he rudely interrupts Jill, who doesn't really scream or anything when she sees him. Entirely in silence, he kicks open the bucket of rainwater right into the outlet her laptop is plugged into. If only she had charged that shit earlier, man. Water and electricity do their thing, sending shocks everywhere and melting off Jill's one eye. Her death is also in complete silence, even when she collapses onto the ground, which is honestly pretty considerate of everyone else in the house. Nobody likes a noisy house guest. With her cyber sex session interrupted, Barb gets up to go check on Alice, and Ian confronts her about Jill. Barb tries to turn it back around on him, but it turns out he knows.
I've seen the way you look at her.
Ditto.
Ian tells Barb that if she is having an affair, he could easily take Alice away from her, so it's a good thing you put a nanny cam inside Chucky to get some footage to check later. Instead of, like, going going to retrieve that footage and make sure Barb doesn't wipe it or anything, he instead puts in some earplugs and goes back to sleep, ignoring Barb's babbling. Barb goes off to look for Alice, but instead only finds Chucky sitting on the stairs to the attic. Nika sees them upstairs, and there's a real over-the-top dramatic pushing on the two of them. Then some Three's Company level miscommunication happens, where Nika tries to tell Barb about Charles Lee Ray's soul inside the doll, but Barb thinks she's talking about the nanny cam, so she gets mad and leaves her stuck downstairs since the power outage disabled the elevator. But Nika is one of the toughest characters in the Chucky franchise, so she gets to work going upstairs the hard way. Hell yeah, Nika, work them tries. Get swole. Barb heads into the attic to find Alice, but instead the only thing she's able to find is hidden inside Chucky's overalls. Chucky, is that a butcher knife, or are you just happy to see Barb? Oh, it's a butcher knife. Barb then notices some aberrations on his face that definitely weren't there before, and when she picks at them, she finds a bunch of stitches left over from his Tilly movies. He bites at her finger, which scares her to the floor, then hops down and holds her at knife point while he tears off the rest of his face and goes full nihilist on her.
There is no God.
Then he tells Barb that she has her mother's eyes, so you know what's coming next. Oh, damn, right in the eye. Nika hears Barb scream and starts to crawl towards the attic, but then a freaking eyeball rolls down and lands on the floor beside her. Barb stumbles into
She tried to tell you, lady. You should have listened. That's your fault.
and falls down the stairs, landing on Nika as a Cyclops corpse and our sixth victim in the movie. Guess you could say
That's what you think. That's your fault, Barb. She tried to warn you, but you wanted to be stupid. Because you didn't believe Nika, and this is what happens. Good job, Barb. You deserve the Idiot Award.
Chucky has a real eye for clever kills. Bazinga. Now that we're in the full swing of things, Chucky's fine with making his entrance, stalking down the stairs towards Nika with his trusty knife in hand. He crushes Barb's eye and honks at Nika like a goose. And after one quick gander at Chucky, Nika nopes out of there with a spare wheelchair, rolling into Ian's room and locking the door behind her. She wakes up Ian and gives him a quick rundown of the stitch, so he carries her downstairs and into her first floor chair. He leaves her in the garage while he runs back inside to find Alice, and while he's gone, Chucky sneaks in and starts up the car in an attempt to kill Nika with carbon monoxide, the silent killer, which is a nickname Chucky will never have. Ian comes back into the garage and thinks Nika be looking crazy, so he suspects that she's the one who killed Jill and Barb. Nika starts having a heart thing that was kind of talked about earlier, and she implores Ian to inject the good stuff under her ribs so he can save her. But he goes super fucking cold-blooded and just stands there letting her pass out. Damn, dude, you got some ice in them veins. The last thing she sees before passing out is blurry Chucky on the move. She comes to and finds herself tied to her wheelchair, but it's just crazy fucking Ian who did it, not Chucky. He duct tapes her mouth shut, then goes to his nanny cam footage to find evidence of what's going on. The footage reveals that Chucky had Alice hide in a closet and locked her in. That's what we call pulling a real kettlewell. Then Ian switches over to the live feed to see Chucky's POV coming into the room. Chucky uses the wheelchair to hit.
Yep, good job, you idiot. You think now she thought she was nuts? Now it's your turn to get wrecked. Good job, idiot.
Ian and flip him on his back, then takes an axe over to Ian's prone body.
Yep, good job, Ian. That's what happens when you think Nika was a nut job, and that's what you get. You get karma right there. Good job, Ian. You deserve the second Idiot Award. Good job, Ian. So proud of you for being the dumbest person on earth.
Chops his jaw off. God damn. Nice going, Chuckster. Wait a minute. Does this take place in Underland? Is this Baron Underbite's origin story? Only like 3 people got that reference. Chucky then.
Thanks, Chuckster. You did me a favor. Not literally, but because I'm not a maniac. But that's what happens when you're stupid.
Turns his attention to Nika, but she's able to free herself enough, so when he charges her, he only lands a hit on her leg. It doesn't hurt her, so she's able to just bitch slap him to Kingdom Come. Then she dislodges the axe from her leg and uses it to straight up decapitate Chucky, whose headless body faints. But we must be back to kill the horror rules, because as she's bandaging her leg wound, Chucky gets up behind her and puts himself back together again. No horses or king's men required. He's somehow able to muster up the strength to roll Nika full speed down the hallway and into the banister, sending her crashing down in a kind of beautiful slow motion shot to the ground level floor where she bleeds out. When he goes down to confront her, she tells him she knows that he's Charles Lee Ray, and now things are about to get weird.
Didn't your mother ever mention me? I'm an old friend of the family.
Yep, it's time for a flashback, where a visibly older Brad Dourif plays Charles Lee Ray, supposedly at the age he was in the first movie. A friend introduces him to Sarah and her husband Daniel at that home movie barbecue, and then later, Charles picks the most inopportune time to make eyes at Sarah, doing it at Daniel's funeral. I guess we'll include Daniel's death here on the kill count. Barb said he drowned earlier, but a deleted scene shows Charles Lee Ray picking Daniel up right before this funeral scene. Even without that scene, it's easy to connect the dots, because the very next thing we cut to is Sarah tied up while Charles brings her some selectively colored flowers. The police arrive, apparently having been contacted infected by Sarah somehow, and before you can even comprehend what's going on, Charles takes out a knife and puts it to Sarah's belly, and, well, it cuts to black and she screams, but Nika fills in the blank for us.
You did this to me.
Yeah, that's a little much, and things get even more complicated when one final flashback shows why Chucky blames Nika and Sarah for his current condition. Turns out his escape from the police after stabbing Sarah's belly was the same foot chase that led to the toy store from the original. Not exactly sure how Eddie Caputo would have been involved if Charles Lee Ray was fleeing police investigating a kidnapping situation, but fuck it, I guess. Chucky gives her a TLDR about how the past 25 years have gone for him.
Since then, a lot of families have come and gone. But Nika, your family was always my favorite.
Aw, man, that really hurts. I always thought the Barclays were your favorite. You and Andy had something special, man. Maybe that's why he name dropped Andy, insisting he more or less killed Andy by ruining his childhood. But Nika presses him on the point, saying he never actually killed Andy, and that Chucky must have something called completion anxiety. I don't think that's a real thing. She crawls into the elevator, and since she slips on some blood, she's able to close the door and hold it shut against Chucky as he slashes away at her fingers, eventually full out grabbing the knife by the blade and wresting it away from him. You tough as hell, Nika. The final fight begins as Chucky scratches her face and bites into her shoulder before she's finally able to bring the knife down straight into his back. She rips it out and his stuffing snows down upon her. It's a Child's Play miracle, and in true Child's Play spirit, Chucky pops back up and laughs. Officer Stanton arrives at the house since he learned it was where Father Frank spent his last handful hours, and upon hearing Nika's scream, he busts in and finds her looking all crazy inside the elevator. He eyes Barb's corpse, and since Nika's sitting there with a knife, it looks like she got some splaining to do. Chucky chills in a rocking chair, keeping his little plastic mouth shut. Let's get into the denouement of this movie, shall we? Because there's kind of a lot of it. A courtroom scene shows Nika being sentenced to a facility for the criminally insane, and she doesn't really help her case as she's carted past Chucky and starts yelling at him.
Alive, you son of a bitch, Julie.
I'm still alive!
Yep, just keep laughing your crazy head off, Nika. That'll get you a discharge. Officer Stanton glances at Chucky suspiciously, then takes him inside an evidence bag to his cop car. He calls someone and, wait, says he's on his way and for them not to forget his money? Are we going full Officer Bailey here? Guess so, since Jennifer Tilly pops up and slits his throat from the back seat. Damn, J. Tails, you still rocking it, huh? That was a much brighter and more bloody throat slit than Bailey. I think Curse may be the goriest film in the series. Tilly laughs to herself and opens the bag with Chucky.
So, who's next?
You'd think that'd be it, but we've actually got a couple more stops before this train ride is over, folks. First is Tilly taking a good guy-sized box to the post office to overnight Chucky off somewhere. Then we cut to Alice coming home to her grandma's house and wondering where old Mima is. Looks like the package was shipped to her place, and Chucky's standing right behind you, Alice! Alice tries to talk to Chucky about her problems,
Mommy and Daddy are dead.
but he's just interested in playing games.
Hide the soul.
Here we go again! He has her close her eyes and gets to work.
A day to eat in Bella.
Yeah, you know the rest by now. Give me the power, yada yada yada. While he's going through the extended director's cut of the chant, the camera pans away to a jump scare with the grandma popping out, suffocating inside a plastic bag. I'll count her as a kill, but what the fuck? Alice didn't hear that going on right behind her? Maybe grandma...
Okay, so when I watched this movie, that scared the crap out of me because I did not know that was the grandma. I did not know that was the grandma at all. That scared the crap out of me.
To Jill and dying all considerate and silent. Even though it seems like it's over, there's a post-credit sequence in which Chucky joins the Avengers. Just kidding. It takes place 6 months later, and guess who's in it? It's Andy Barclay, like actual Alex Vincent, who played Andy in parts 1 and 2. He gets a package that's very obviously Chucky, meaning I guess the body swap...
Wait, I don't remember that. I watched Curse of Chucky, but I didn't see that. I didn't see that scene at all. I watched Curse of Chucky. I didn't see this at all.
With Alice didn't end up working after all? While Andy is on the phone with his mom, Chucky starts sawing his way out of the box. Longtime Child's Play fans get a ton of treats here. Andy asks his mom about Mike, meaning her and Detective Norris are still together, and we see Andy's diploma from Kent as well as pictures of his foster sister Kyle, and a nice promotional shot of him and Karen from the first movie. Chucky finally gets out of the box, but apparently Andy's been planning for this, as Chucky turns around to face a shotgun pointed at him.
Play with this.
Andy! I'm not gonna count Chucky on the list because it was so off-screen and that fucker's hard to kill. Don't worry though, plenty of other people died. Let's find out how many and get to the numbers. 10 people died in Curse of Chucky, less than the Tilly movies, but still more than the original trilogy. Of the victims, 6 were guys and 4 were gals, and for once, Chucky's not included on that list. With a runtime of 96 minutes, the longest in the series, that comes out to a kill, on average, every 9.6 minutes. Golden Chainsaw for coolest kill is a tough one here, but I'll go with Ian. We've seen decapitations and eye stabs aplenty, but there's something fun and unique about getting just your jaw chopped off. Adult Machete for lamest kill will go to Daniel Pierce, who got drowned off screen. That's a kill so lame, even his funeral ended up in monochrome. And that's it. Curse of Chucky was released in 2013, and not only returned the series to a more serious tone, but also tied all the previous ones together. I'm excited to see how that pays off with a brand new film called Chucky.
Later, bro.
Coming out this Tuesday on DVD and Blu-ray. I'll be pulling some all-nighters to get the kill count out for you next Friday. But until then, I'm James A. Janice. This has been the Kill Count. Hey guys, thanks a lot for watching my Kill Count episode for Curse of Chucky.
You too. See you tomorrow. Good night.
Welcome to the Kill Count, where
Well,
we
maybe
tell you...
try that again.
Welcome to the Kill Count, where we tally up the victims in all our favorite horror movies. I'm James A. Janice, and today we're looking at the brand new movie, Cult of Chucky, released earlier this week on DVD, Blu-ray, video on demand, and Netflix. Cult of Chucky is a direct sequel to Curse, picking up 4 years after Nika's committal to a mental institution. Cult takes place primarily in the asylum, playing off the fact that nobody's likely to believe a committed person about a walking, talking doll. Despite its direct-to-video release, the film's look is even more artistic and stylized than the sleek aesthetic of Curse. Cult is a confident step forward for the franchise, bringing together loads of characters and ideas from previous films and mixing them all together in a chaotic blend that happily sets up another sequel at its conclusion. And although the last act of this movie is capital B bonkers, most of it is a slow burn that's more reminiscent of the original Child's Play. Still, when the kills finally come, they freaking deliver. So let's see what's in store and get to them already. The movie begins in a skyscraper restaurant, shot much like the apartment building from Child's Play 1. Fitting, since the guy eating here is Andy Barclay, again played by Alex Vincent from the first 2 movies. He and his date are talking about his past since she went and looked him up.
You Googled me.
Nah man, she used internet search, and through it she learned about the whole crazy killer doll claim. She says the whole situation is a bit too much for her and leaves. Her lost dude, she's missing out on having probably the cutest kid she could ask for.
Yeah, not only that, but it's kind of her fault for mentioning that in the first place. If it was going to bother you so much that was going to make you leave him, you should have not brought it up in the first place. That's kind of your fault. Very, very stupid woman for that.
He takes his truck back to his Lincoln log cabin home where he keeps a locker with enough arms to take over an Oregon wildlife refuge. He's also got a fine collection of stuffed heads everywhere, including a special one kept behind a framed Kent Academy sweater. Turns out I was right to not include Chucky in the kill count for Curse. So take that, internet commenters. Apparently Andy's been keeping Chucky's head locked up and using it to practice his carpenter skills. Seems like they almost have a sort of mutual respect thing going on, since Andy lets Chucky take a hit off that day. But Chucky's still a little fucky and bites at Andy's fingers to scare him. Adult Andy ain't having it though.
Wanna play?
And his new form of playtime involves a freaking blowtorch. One order of Chuck Brulee coming right up. The opening credits sequence is something straight out of an AMC show, with clips from Curse and news articles setting up the story ahead. Then we're back with Nika, who's been getting electroshock treatment and therapy from Dr. Foley, who, over the past 4 years, has gotten her to accept that Chucky isn't real and that she was the one who murdered her whole family.
What I did was unforgivable.
He says that because of her progress, he's transferring her to a medium security facility where she gets a blindingly white room set up by a nurse named Carlos. He's played enough, but says he's not a big Nika fan because of the whole, mass murder thing. Nika explores the rest of this clinically colorless locale and meets some of the cast we'll get to see murder. They include Angela, who claims to have died and be invisible to everyone else in the ward, although that's quickly disproven with a jump scare by a guy who introduces himself as Michael. Like Carlos, Michael is friendly to Nika, but unlike Carlos, he's not too bothered by her murderous past. At least not too bothered to bang her in the stairwell. Get it, Nika? Dr. Foley holds a group session with the rest of the main inmates, like Claire, an angry firebrand who doesn't feel safe around Nika since all she ever did was light her house on fire.
You always bring that up.
And Madeline, a demure lady whose reason for being there is revealed later on. When Nika explains her backstory to them and mentions her niece Alice, Angela sits up and tells her that Chucky had given her a little ring-a-ding-ding and left a message with her.
He said to tell you he's coming for you.
Sounds like a great time for Doc Foley to prove to everyone that Nika's down to dolls, so he whips out a good guy to show that she's cool.
Hi, I'm Chucky.
Madeline is super into it, adopting the doll,
He's my baby.
and making sure he eats his din-din at supper time. Also over dinner, Michael reintroduces himself as Mark, and Nika finds out that this guy has multiple personality disorder and is called Multiple Malcolm. When Dr. Foley takes Nika to see a visitor, the audience gets a real treat in the form of Jennifer Tilly, who brings a splash of color into the film as a femme fatale introduced as Alice's legal guardian, Valentine. And don't worry, the movie doesn't forget that Jennifer Tilly exists in this universe.
Did anyone ever tell you you look exactly like Jennifer Tilly?
Yeah, I get that a lot.
Because that is Jennifer Tilly's body, but it's Tiffany's soul. Since Tiffany's body, which also looks strikingly similar to Jennifer Tilly's, died in Bride of Chucky. Got that? Nika asks after Alice, and Tiffany don't mince words.
She's dead, Miss Pierce.
To really guilt-trip the hell out of Nika, she says Alice died of a broken heart, but mentions that Alice wanted to bequeath the doll to Nika.
Hi, I'm Chucky.
Nika's straight shook, meaning J-Tails did her job, so she makes her exit. Come back soon, Jennifer, we love you! Foley puts Chucky in his office, but that night Chucky escapes and first person makes his way to a conveniently doll-height drawer to steal a scalpel behind Carlos, who's still hard at work. How long's your shift, brother? Chucky starts looking for Nika's room, showing off the latest look of the doll and its movements, until he's interrupted by Angela. On for your first line in this movie is a whole complete Chucky doll, dude. What kind of killer fun you got for us?
Where's Nika?
Oh, that's okay. He gets back to his smart-ass self soon enough after Angela tells him he isn't real and is just a figment of her imagination.
You fucking with me?
Ah, there's our boy. Chucky leaves Angela with the promise that she's next and goes to Nika's room. But when he gets there, he finds a broken spoke in her wheelchair and a pool of her blood on the ground. Turns out she used the metal to slit her wrist because she felt so guilty about Alice's death. That's okay, Chucky. We can still chalk that one up as an assist if you want. But Chucky knows assists don't help his KD. So the next morning, Nika wakes up to find a message for her written in blood and her wrist wounds all sealed up. Nice stitch work, Chucky. Charles Lee Ray paid attention in home ec. Not everyone made it through the night alive, though, as Nika and the rest of the people at the hospital find the body of Angela in her bed. Her wrist cut open with Nika's metal spoke, giving us our first kill in the movie a whopping 31 minutes in. Looks like Colt is going to take things slow. The main character inmates discuss Angela's death in another group session, with Claire yelling that Nika did it, but fully insisting it wasn't her fault. Malcolm's the only one with the right idea.
Chucky did it.
So of course he gets freaked out when Madeline and her adopted good guy arrive and reveal that there are now 2 Chuckies. As they explain where the second doll came from, Nika realizes that Valentine meant Tiffany Valentine.
It was Charles Lee Ray's girlfriend.
So now she starts thinking maybe she isn't crazy after all and that Chucky really is a bad guy. To prove it's just a doll, Foley takes a lighter to Chucky's hand, holding it there long enough to melt his fingers into a little nasty good guy claw. But since Nika is smart and awesome and I freaking love her, she immediately realizes Chucky might have swapped places with Madeline's doll and wants to try him at the stake too. But the rest of the group is done with this kangaroo court. Madeline goes for a walk to get away from Nika, and Malcolm agrees to help find out what's going on, while also revealing that his Mark persona is just Adam Herdig's impersonation of Jesse Eisenberg's impersonation of Mark Zuckerberg.
And that's the part of the movie that that's the part of the movie that I'm at right now. I'm still watching this movie, but that's where I'm at right now currently.
Acting to Dr. Foley's computer, it was ridiculously easy.
While Nika distracts Nurse Ashley, Malcolm slips out the door unnoticed. Nika watches from the window as Chucky whispers sweet nothings into Madeline's ears and flips Nika off. Rude fucking doll, man. Nika tries to warn Madeline what's up, but instead Madeline just tosses Chucky into an open grave. When Malcolm comes over to see what's going on, Maddie pushes him in as well. Meanwhile, Claire grabs the Chucky doll from Foley's office and goes to throw it away, but gets bitten as she tries. But wait a minute, we just saw Madeline's doll confirmed as Chucky, and now there's pretty strong evidence that this doll's alive too? Cult of Chucky. Foley and Carlos just think she injured herself, so they take her away, strap her to a bed, and drug her up with downers. They leave at Nurse Ashley's request for help with Malcolm, and during an interesting, if not entirely necessary split-screen sequence, Nika watches as Malcolm helps Chucky out of the grave and then is pulled out of the grave himself. He turns and looks at Nika with a psychopathic smile, and we're beginning to get ideas of what the cult of Chucky might actually be. The Chucky with Claire disappears from the seat and pops back up bedside with a can of compressed air. He toys with Claire a little bit before slamming the canister into the ground, shooting it skyward to repeat that honeymoon waterbed kill from Bride of Chucky. But this one's a lot cooler, with a close-up on Claire's eye shedding a single tear, a real nice slow-motion shot of the glass shards falling, and a full-on decapitation to top things off. Way more graphic and intense than the more comical deaths of those hope.
And that's what happens, Claire, when you thought Chucky was a nut job. Good job. Good job, Claire. Good job. This is what happens when you think Nika was a nut job.
Hotel grifters, although Chucky
Good
always
job.
willing to let them do.
Sometimes I scare myself.
Somehow, word of the murders makes its way to Perez Hilton's website.
That's my boy.
Since Andy is a consummate...
But I'm not a nut job. I'm not a maniac at all. Nope. I'm just a huge horror fan, that's all.
consumer of celebrity gossip, he sees it. The messed up head finally lays out what's up in this movie.
You thought I was the only one?
And he takes out another Chucky doll, one with a Kent Academy haircut that would make Sergeant Botnick freaking cream himself, and takes off in his truck. Back at the asylum, Nika's caught on to the twist in this movie.
I think both dolls are alive somehow.
Holy shit, was that an incantation variation? I don't know how Nika overheard that or whatever to justify that cutaway, but she's insisting to Foley that she's not a murderer and Chucky did it all. His response is to drug her and use a flashing light to hypnotize her so he can be real fucking creepy and sexually abuse her. Gross, dude. Can't wait for you to get murdered. For now, he just gets knocked out by Chucky.
Yeah. He deserves to die.
Though, and even he can tell how nasty Foley is.
And they call me sick?
Chucky still takes advantage of Nika's gay state in his own way, though, encouraging her to take a shard of broken glass and murder Foley with it so she can join the club. The screen fades to black before anything happens, and then we find Nika crawling down a hallway. She crawls right into an image of Alice, who tells her they've been waiting for her, and before you can say, what the fuck, man, Alice reverses away, and there's a giant wavy Chucky standing over Nika with a knife. And, yeah, still standing there. Long shot. Sometime later, Malcolm's acting real weird, and when Nika asks him what his name is today, he tells her.
I saw this movie before, so I'm not being spoiled.
Charles. I think we can.
What if he winds up meeting Charles Barkley? That'd be fun. The movie jumps another weird level when Maddie takes Chucky to her room and breastfeeds him. Guaranteed Chucky talked her into that one. Or maybe not, because it seems like he hasn't fully come out to her yet. Oh, Chucky, she's your mom. She'll love you no matter what. Or suffocate you with a pillow. Yeah, looks like Madeline's gonna do that instead, I guess. It's apparently the same thing she did to her real-life baby, as Dr. Foley reveals, and the reason she was committed in the first place. As Madeline gives her surrogate baby a tearful apology, Nika interrupts her in an attempt to grab Chucky, but Dr. Folester stops her and says it's time to bury the past. So they do. We get a good guy funeral and burial, and Nika watches eyefully from the window. On his way to the hospital, Andy gets a call from Tiffany or Jennifer or whatever.
Even I lose track.
She asks him to join up in their ever-growing call, but Andy's not into it. Sorry, Jeff. He gets there that night and is stopped by a security guard who tells him to go on and get. Andy acts fast to get himself committed, punching the guard to wind up in a white-tastic room of his own. What, there's no processing time to get committed there? Nika keeps vigil watching Chucky's grave until she finally sees him punch through the dirt. Then she gets drugged from behind with a needle in her neck, so she misses it when Grave Chucky goes full Margaret White. So we've got 2 Chuckies running around now. Why not have a third? Because we get...
And how many? She's been drugged a lot of times. God dang. Chucky just loves knocking her out, huh? Yeah, nasty, nasty doll. Don't take that out of context. Please don't.
One when Dr. Sex Abuser opens a box delivered to him and finds Buzzcut Chucky inside. Almost time for the call party, everybody. Get ready. But first, let's deal with some loose ends, like shoelaces, which Madeline isn't allowed to have because she's on suicide watch. Nurse Ashley takes the laces away and tells Maddie she'll check on her every 15 minutes. When she leaves, Grave Chucky is waiting behind the door, and he manipulates Madeline until she's opening her arms for one final embrace. It's final because she's hiring Chucky as her own personal Kevorkian.
Will it hurt?
I'll do my best.
Chucky proceeds to stick his little plastic hand into Maddie's mouth. Sure, it's got some dirt on it, but at least this isn't the same doll from Seed. You wouldn't want that good guy's hand anywhere near your mouth. Chucky finishes the job by going elbow deep and pulling out Madeline's... Shit, dog, what is that? A trachea? Is that what a trachea looks like? Or is that just straight up spinal cord? I don't know, but it's gross and all kinds of awesome. Her death is made to look like a suicide, with Chucky's detached arms sticking out of her mouth. Maddie's death is the breaking point for Nurse Ashley, who hands in her badge and her gun to Foley. He takes a Dark Knight scroll of the soul to his office, where he finds Nika sitting there in a straitjacket. He falls back on classic exploitive therapist motivation, saying he's gonna write a book about Nika's situation, but I bet you he leaves out the part where he fucking molests her. Speaking of which, Dr. Ravenstein takes out some red shoes for Nika to wear, because, I don't know, looks like he's into that, I guess. Thankfully, before he can act on his fetishes, Nika spits in his face, and Chucky gets an encore performance that knocks Foley out again.
I just can't with this guy.
Now it's time for the movie's craziness to crack wide open, because one-armed Grave Chucky joins Nika and Clawhand Chucky to tell his counterpart that Annie in the house, but they should be careful because he got that crazy eye going on. They waste literally no time using their activation key on the third Chucky doll in the room.
Give me the power I beg of you.
A new Chucky has entered the game. The trio of Chuckies act like a vaudeville routine as Clawhand Chucky explains what's going on.
A few years ago, I came across this groovy new spell on voodooforDummies.com. Now, I can be me, and me, and me.
Then he tells Nika that he also inhabited Alice's body and used it to murder some people until someone fought back and killed her, which is not only really fucking dark, but also explains the end of Curse. Turns out the incantation near Grandma's suffocation did actually work, and the Chucky mailed to Andy was the result of this soul-splitting, or whatever, Ade Boku spell. Carlos walks in on all this crazy talk and is dumbfounded as the 3 Chucksketeers swarm him. They stab him in the leg and then go crazy on him for our 4th kill, drilling him and stabbing him some more and slicing open his torso to get some gaseous intestinal release there. Buzzcut Chucky is having a great time. He'll be the first to tell you.
I never felt so alive. Yeah, well, you've been alive for like 2 minutes.
The cult of Chuckies argue over who gets to go kill Andy until they agree to let Buzzcut Chucky do the honors on account of feeling bad about his shitty haircut. Outside, the guard from earlier finds a sexy red car idling, but when he looks inside the window, the only thing he sees is the Tiffany doll sitting by her lonesome. Hey, guess what happens next? Yep, until he pulls another Bailey and slits his throat with a nail file. I'm old enough to remember Bride of Chucky, where Tiffany admonished Chucky to be more creative with his kills. Back inside, Chucky tells Nika he had never planned on killing her and instead goes into one last chant. A return of rolling clouds means the shit really went through this time, and Nika suddenly stands up out of her wheelchair. I don't know how Chucky's soul would fix whatever brain or spinal cord injury kept her from being able to walk, but you know what, whatever. Foley comes to and sees Nika standing there, which must be real confusing, although I bet he's really into it when she starts groping herself.
There's definitely perks to being supernaturally possessed.
Chuck Nika walks over to Foley, tells him this kill is for Nika, then proceeds to deliver what is probably the single goriest kill in this entire franchise, stomping his head and bush against the ground. Holy fucking shit, that is just gruesome, man! On her way out the door, Chuck Nika runs into Malcolm, who's really proud of himself for killing Nurse Ashley with a drill to the stomach. Not quite sure how that drill is staying up like that, kind of defying physics there, but whatever. Chuck Nika calls out Malcolm, saying he's not actually the one who killed Ashley, and calls him a poser. He drops to his knees in despair, perfect height for a doll to drill through through the back of his freaking head. The drill comes out the front through the eye, and another seriously gruesome kill coming in just 2 minutes after Nika's stomp-a-thon across Foley's face. Nika and Grave Chucky have a real good laugh together. It's always nice to see two people become such fast friends. Finally, Buzzcut Chucky goes to Andy's room and keycards his way in, but after he throws a knife into Andy's leg, Andy bounces back and pins him up against the wall like literally anyone could have done throughout any of these movies. Then he just digs his hand into Chucky's tum-tum, disemboweling him and whipping out a gun and a callback.
This is the end, fucker!
Andy shoots Chucky in the head and confirms that he's the one who sent this doll to Dr. Foley in the first place. With a final fuck you from Chucky, Andy channels his inner Nika and crushes this Chucky's head until it looks like a smashed crimson pumpkin. Man, if you think about it, Andy just killed like a 1-hour-old being. Chuck Nika is standing in the doorway and tells Andy if he shoots, he'll kill Nika too. Andy goes for it anyway, but he forgot to press R earlier, and while he's reloading his gun, Chuck Nika locks him in.
Tag, you're it, pal.
He's left in his padded room as Grave Chucky plants the drill and takes his place as an unassuming doll in the asylum rec room. Chuck Nika comes outside to meet Tiffany, and they have a passionate reunion.
So this is different.
Worse for me.
Yeah, I bet it works for you, Tiffany, seeing as how Fiona Dorff looks just like her freaking dad, man. It's uncanny. Their victory laughs are joined by the Tiffany doll in the back, who's also alive, maybe with Alice's soul, since they mentioned her right beforehand. I don't freaking know, man. The movie's over. We'll just have to wait for the next one for answers. But hold up, the Blu-ray and DVD version has a post-credit sequence. In it, the captive Chucky head in Andy's cabin wakes up to the sound of a car pulling up. In walks a blonde lady all dressed in black.
Kyle, we're gonna have some fun.
She approaches the head and he screams in anguish, and with that, the movie's over for real. It was definitely a slow burn, but it still had a fair number of kills. How many exactly? Let's grab our friend Chucky and get to the numbers.
Stop! Stop! He's killing me! He's killing me!
9 people died in Cult of Chucky, which is plenty. Quit bitching that it wasn't enough, people. Of the victims, 5 were men and 4 were women, a near even split between genders. With a runtime of 91 minutes, that comes out to a kill, on average, about every 10 minutes, even though 2/3 of them happened in the last 16 minutes of the movie. Fuck you, Chucky. Golden Chainsaw for Fool's Kill has so many options, but I'll give it to Dr. Foley's death when Nika put on her red shoes and danced the blues. It's so long and gory, and the practical effects are absolutely outstanding. Doll Machete for Lana's kill will go to Nurse Ashley, who got killed off screen with a single drill bit to the stomach. And that's it. Cult of Chucky is the latest in the Child's Play series, which turns 30 next year. We're done with Chucky on the kill count for now, but I'm glad I did this because I truly have a new respect for this wild and crazy series. We're back to some one-offs until November, starting with Your Next in a week. Until then, I'm James H. Neese. This has been the Kill Count. Thanks a lot for watching the Kill Count for Cult of Chucky, and